Okay. So continue on all the base cabinets, different functions. So we have briefly go over the cabinet with doors, with drawers, with doors and drawers. And then for sink. So I'm just gonna special mention just one of these cabinets. This one, B1D front house sink apron. So this is designed for apron sink. Okay, the front house sink. But for the front house sink,
it's obvious we need to know all the dimensions for these products that we attach or install, sink size,
yes.
appliances, just like 2020.
Yes. So just want to specially mention this cabinet right here. Can you guys see my Google search screen with all
Yes.
the apron sink? Oh, okay. So for the apron sink, there's mainly two different type of apron. So the first one, that's very common. This one right here.
Yeah.
So one of the very common apron sink will have the whole apron all finished on all four sides. So basically this kind of the apron sink, it just drop into or drop and sit on top of the base cabinet, right? So for this kind of apron sink design, we basically just use the regular base cabinet and reduce the height of the cabinet. And then this apron sink will be just sit on top of that base cabinet. Okay, and then there's another type of the apron sink, which is this one right here. Okay, so it only has the finished edge, the apron, the front house edge, whatever you guys call it. So it only has the edge on the front. It doesn't have the back or the side edge. So this type of the apron sink, it has to be sit on top of the cabinet and drop into the cabinet. So that's what this cabinet right here, that's what this cabinet is designed for. Okay, so the apron front will be covering the front of this cabinet. Okay, and then we still have the cabinet on the side and then on the back to support this apron sink. Okay, and then another thing I want to mention. So under this category for sink, you will see, for example, this cabinet B1D, and then you see apron. Doesn't mean that this cabinet is specially designed for the front house sink. But what does this apron means? So when you pull this cabinet over, okay, give me a second. The original. Okay, so the cabinet on the right-hand side, this one, the one I highlighted right now. So this one is the original B1D, the base cabinet with the swing door. Okay, and then this cabinet on the left-hand side is the one I just pull out from this category for sink. So this cabinet is the B1D apron. So when I open the door, all these cabinets, okay, so now here you'll see a kind of like a false panel inside this cabinet. That's what we call the apron front for our cabinets. Okay, so when you design a cabinet for a kitchen sink or vanity sink, that's basically something that's covering the sink. Okay, so same thing for this cabinet B2W with apron. So same thing here. So inside this cabinet, Okay, so same thing for the two drawer cabinet. On the right hand side, this one is the regular base cabinet with two drawer. And then this cabinet on the left hand side is the base two drawer cabinet with the apron. So that's the apron front inside of the cabinet. And for the cabinet with the drawer, you can see the drawer box height is actually different, right? Because for the regular base cabinet, we want to fully utilize all the space inside this cabinet. So the drawer box will be 10-inch height on both the top and the bottom. Okay, but if you have a cabinet that's designed for sink, well, the first thing, yes, you will have to change the drawer box to a U-shaped drawer, and then we'll go over later on how to change the drawer box to U-shape. But also the height of the cabinet box, the drawer box. Okay, so with this apron sink on top, which is controlling the space that we reserve for the sink. Now you can see the drawer box is shorter for you to have enough clearance for your sink on top of this cabinet. Okay, so on the cabinet feature right here, you can change the apron height. So the apron height is the height of this panel right here. So if I have a vanity sink that's only 4-inch depth, I can change my apron height to 4-inch. And now you'll see, since we have more space inside this cabinet, the drawer box actually become higher. Okay.
Is that
If
is that automated? It adjusts
Yes.
by itself?
The drawer box height, yes.
Oh,
But the apron height, you do have to adjust
Correct.
by yourself according to the spec of the sink.
correct. But the
Yes.
cabinet actually just changes itself. That's wild.
Yes, and then same thing, if I have a sink that requires 10-inch space, and now you will see the apron height becomes 10-inch height, and then the drawer box will be smaller. Okay, and then once again, if I have a well, I think the maximum height allowed me to go is 6.5. So basically, that's the maximum I can have for my sink. So anything that's beyond 6.5, it doesn't allow me to have a drawer underneath this apron front. Okay, so it means that if you have a sink that's requires more space than 6.5 inch, you won't be able to put a drawer inside this cabinet on the top. Okay, any question for the sink cabinet? Okay, actually, before we move on, about the sink cabinet, two things I want to kind of show you guys how to change the drawer box to U-shaped drawer and how to change the drawer front to a false front. Okay. Okay, so for example, for sink. So one of like very common design for sink cabinets in kitchen, we will have a cabinet with one false front on top, which doesn't have a drawer box, and then a door on the bottom. Right. Yeah. So if I need a cabinet that has a false front on top and two doors on the bottom, I think is a very common design for a sink cabinet. Right, so what I need to do right here is on this cabinet. Okay, so on the top here, as a default, it will have a drawer box on top, right? So I can go to right here on the left corner, bottom corner right here. Here is the resource manager. So all the like the basic features and the style change, you can you can change on each single cabinet on the left side toolbar. But if you want to modify anything that's inside this cabinet, like more advanced feature, you have to go to the resource manager. And it shows you here is the cabinet I selected, B1W1D. Okay, so when I click on this drop-down menu, the first one, sorry, should be this one, the drawer one. Okay, since I want to modify the drawer, the top drawer here. Okay, drawer one, and then I see the style right here, the drawer box shape. As a default, the top drawer, drawer one, will have a regular drawer. I can change this drawer to U shape, or I can change this drawer to a false front. Okay. So once I change this drawer to a false front, you guys will see that this drawer box has been removed from this cabinet, only leave me the drawer front. Okay. And then same thing for the two drawer cabinet. Actually, okay, so for the two drawer cabinet, I have option here to change the top drawer. Let's say I want the top drawer to be a false front. And then here, since there has two drawer, so for drawer two, I can change the drawer box shape to a U shape. Okay, so the two drawer, the top and bottom drawer can be modified separately. Okay, so it's the same thing for the three drawer or four drawer. Each individual drawer can be modified separately. Okay, so that's for the sink cabinets. Okay, and then one more thing for the U shape. So for example, this cabinet, this two drawer cabinet right here, I have changed my second drawer, drawer two, to a U-shaped drawer. And then right here, so on the left-hand side, the resource manager, the dovetail U for the U-shaped drawer. Right here for the drawer two U-shaped drawer. As a default, the U-shaped cutout will be 10 by 10. So that's our default. When you have a U-shaped drawer, the U-shaped cutout will be 10-inch wide and 10-inch depth. And then you have the drop-down menu right here. And then you have the option for a 12 by 12 U-shaped cutout. Okay, so you can see the cutout is bigger right now. So it will be 12-inch wide, 12-inch depth. Okay, so
Excuse me,
sorry.
Ying. Audra's trying to join, it says.
Oh,
She's
okay.
texting me.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can you guys all see my screen now? Okay, let's see. Okay. Hi, Audra. I know we have been missing a couple of the step right here, and yeah, since we have been doing the training, I think you have missed the first part in the morning, and then the first couple of things we mentioned this afternoon. I have recorded this training session, so I will share the recorded video to all of you guys after this meeting. Okay, and then we just continue on the cabinets. Any questions for the sink cabinet?
Yes, the U-shaped cabinet.
Yes.
As far as the cutout, let's just say you have a sink base example with 2020, it's always 3 inches less. A sink, if you're doing an undermount sink, you need the cabinet base to be 3 inches less than, I mean, the sink needs to be 3 inches less than the cabinet opening. With the U shape, how big of a cabinet in width can you use with that? And the U shapes for the sink insert, correct? I'm assuming.
Trap.
Yes, it basically is mainly for the P-trap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's for the piece, but the actual opening, what size sink will fit in there?
So basically the size of the sink that will fit is still depend on the cabinet width.
Correct.
But you still need a U-shaped cutout on the bottom of this cabinet.
Yes. Oh, okay.
For the
So
P-trap.
it's below the sink.
Yes, yes.
Right.
The
Okay.
U-shaped cutout will
Okay.
be on the drawer box.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Nice. Now I see it.
Yeah. Okay. So all this modification that I just did, how to change the frost font, how to change the U-shaped drawer, anything that's inside this resource manager. I know this a little bit complicated and like more step than just changing the basic dimension and stuff like that. So for this part, like we do have a training document that's created on as a PDF format that will introduce step 1, step 2, step 3, like each single step where you need to click on. So we will share this training document, with all the training links after this meeting. Yeah, so you guys can reference later on.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. And then move on to the corner cabinet. So for the corner cabinet, we have this 90-degree corner. Okay, so have the 90-degree corner, same thing like corner with the 90-degree corner with the the gola. And then we have the blind corner left, blind corner right. Okay, so actually let me create a bigger room so it's easier for me to draw with. Okay, sorry. Minutes. Okay, so cabinet for corner. Okay, so we have this blind corner right, which means the right side of the cabinet will be the blind side. Okay. Also, the door will be open to the right side. Okay, so this blind corner here is already comes with the filler at this corner. Okay, so not like 2020 design. Usually for the blind corner cabinet, you have to draw the cabinet and you have to add additional filler on the adjacent side. But in this design studio tool, we already set up this corner cabinet to have this filler attached to this cabinet already. So in your design, you don't have to add additional filler in this corner. Okay, and then same thing on the space behind this corner cabinet. So usually with designs, 2020 design, for all the corner cabinets, you will have to manually put this cabinet towards a wall and then manually add 3 inch of the space behind the cabinet. But this already set up in Design Studio. So there will be 3-inch space behind this cabinet already. Okay, so basically you just pull this cabinet and snap to the wall. There will be 3-inch space behind this corner cabinet.
Yeah, so no ability to and no necessity to pull or push it. A lot of them.
Yes, as a standard design, yes.
Yeah.
But you do have availability to adjust this filler space.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So the first thing I want to mention here, the filler width, as we mentioned, this cabinet already comes with the filler, this two filler on this cabinet. As a default, this filler width will be 3 inch, but you can always modify this filler width from minimum 3/4 inch to a maximum 6 inch. Okay, so just in case if some like special design which requests a bigger space on the corner. So here is how you can adjust the filler width. But keep in mind the filler width will be adjusted on both sides at the same time. Okay, because we want to make sure the symmetrical design. Okay, but as a standard, it will be 3 inch. And then same thing for the corner space, which means the space behind this cabinet. As a default, it will be 3 inch. But it does have so the range you can adjust from 1 and 16/15, almost 2 inch, to 3 and 15/16, almost 4 inch. Okay, so you can see the space behind the cabinet is changing. Okay, but for most of the case, when you have the regular base cabinets, yeah. So when you pull the cabinet over, attach these corner cabinets, everything should be lined up already. Okay, so all the doors will be flush. And then the filter on both sides, 3 inch. Okay, so one more thing for this filter, for this corner cabinet. Same thing for both this blind corner and the 90-degree corner. Just pull a cabinet right here. Okay, so as a default, these corner cabinets will have a shelf inside the cabinet. Okay, so from this 3D view, you can basically see all the angles of this cabinet. So inside this cabinet, you basically see a shelf. Okay, so under this style replacement, other than all the door materials, the case material, you see this option right here, the insert. So basically that's what you have inside this cabinet. So as a default, you will see the option here is a shelf. And then here's all the corner pullouts that you can add to this cabinet. Okay, so for example, like the Lemon, the peanut pullout, which is very common. Okay, or you can have this one are more like European look. Okay, so you can select different style to match with your design. And then same thing here, same as all the accessory cabinet, like we kind of have mentioned it previously. All the accessory, you can see the size right here on each accessory. So this size is basically reference to the cabinet size. Okay, so you do not do any calculation. There's no calculation needed. You just follow the size right here. That's the size of the cabinet you will get. Okay, so for example, right here, right now, I have the cabinet size at 42. But when I select the accessory to 48.
I have a question if you can hear me.
Yes.
Is there a catalog that we can reference, like a paper catalog? When we're designing this, do we have some type of material to reference?
You mean like what kind? You mean a physical
Like,
like
let's say the first top one, the cornerstone, lava, walnut, whatever. If you click on it, either or, doesn't matter. So click on the, click on the.
Yeah, I read it.
It doesn't give you like, well, it gives you a little bit of information on it, but if we're not sure which one to use, is there a documentation that we can
What kind
reference,
of
like
what
a
kind of
catalog
information
of?
are you looking for?
For example, Cornerstone Max Lava 42R. What does that mean, R? I'm assuming it's right. I understand that.
Yes.
But yeah, so what does that mean in my design?
So the Cornerstone Max basically is the name for this accessory. And then lava is this color name.
What is it made out of? How do we know? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. How do we know how to pick it and which one to pick? And if we had like a catalog or something, like a Bloom catalog, for example, when you open it, you have the description of the product and you know what to select.
For these accessories, because like right now we don't have a physical catalog for all of our products. That's definitely something that we are working on, like we need to working on. But for this accessory, the Cornerstone, like this one, these are all very new. There's a new accessory that we just bring in. So we do have a not a catalog but a product page on this new accessory. So that's in the training document, the training files. So I will share this information to you guys later.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have like the detailed informations in this design studio. So in here, you basically just show, you'll see the name, the size of the accessory.
No,
That's it.
I get it. I get it. I'm sorry. I'm getting very frustrated with this training because it's like we have nothing to reference, and you're going to send us a bunch of information once we're done, and we're going to go back and we're not going to know what to do with it. Just feedback right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely write this down. That's a very valuable feedback. Like, I can try to work with our engineer team to see if we can add more information in this design software. But yeah, since like this software is very new for our own designer as well. So we don't have a physical catalog because like we are making a lot of the changes and we are trying to add a lot of the new stuff in the software. So yes, I'll definitely write this down and then we're working on this to have the catalog for you guys to reference.
How long have you been using this?
This design software?
Yes.
So we just launched this design software to our designer on last year, around September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's-
so
that's
it's still
new.
pretty new for our designer as well. We just have been using it for like 5 months, not even half year.
So basically, are you the main educator, trainer?
I will say for the software, yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm like, because previously I was not like working as like trainer, but like since I have been working with the engineering team a lot on this design software, so I can probably say that I'm the most familiar one with this design software, like compared to other designers, since they are very new as well. So yeah, I'm currently doing the trainings for the software, but yes, it is a very new software for our team. So like we are open to any feedback. So it's a very good time for us to collect the feedback during the training as well. So I'll definitely record this down to let our team know like that's something that we need to work on.
Yeah, basically like a training manual that goes along with it in PDF format. Similar to what 2020 does.
Yes, yes. So that's something we are working on as well. We have some of the topic that is very common. Like designer has been asking those questions like very commonly, and then we're just working on the training topic on like each questions, but we don't have a full training document created yet
Yeah,
because
so
there's
it's,
lots of different stuff.
so it's basically trial and error.
Yeah.
As far as what we're gonna the process from here, once we get our 2-day training, we'll be on our own. Is that what you're saying? So we
Yes.
just self-educate ourselves and use it to teach ourselves. And as if we have questions, do we send them to you? How does that work?
Yes. If you have any question, yes, you can reach out to me. anything related to the product or the design software.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so let's continue on to the training.
So the video, it'll actually come with your audio and our audio, or just yours? When you, the training, you know, once you send us the video?
I think should be both.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so moving on for the accessory cabinets. Okay, so for accessory cabinets, that's something that we have mentioned it previously during the product training. So all the accessory that's available right now is all set up in Design Studio. Once again, anything that you did not find in the design software means that it's currently not available. So same thing applies to the accessory. If you have any accessory, which is like special request, you are welcome to submit a special product request. But if it's not available in Design Studio, means currently this accessory is not available. So do not commit to your customer before you can find it in Design Studio. Okay, so for the accessory cabinets, there is different accessory cabinet designed, like so starting with the base cabinet for high door, and then the base cabinet for high door with one base cabinet with one door on the bottom, one drawer on top. For high door Gola, one door, one drawer, and then the for high door with drawers on top. Okay, so this one is this one right here. So this one is with the pull-out drawer on top. Okay, so with all these different cabinets for accessory, basically all these cabinets here has different internal opening height. Okay, so for example, this 4-high door has fully like the whole 30-inch height access for this accessory. But with this one, the 4-high door with one roll-out drawer on top, the roll-out drawer is taking off lots of space on top. So not all the accessory is able to fit underneath this roll-out drawer. Okay, so inside this cabinet, once I click on this cabinet, and then once I go to the style replacement, and right here, you will see all the accessory options. Okay, so same thing, like we don't have all the informations listed on here, but you can kind of see like what's the description, the metal space pullout, the size of the pullout. And then this number right here is basically reference to the width of the cabinet. Okay, so when I select the different width of the accessory, for example, this one for 24, my cabinet's width has been changed to 24. Okay, so the cabinet width on the accessory cabinet is according to the accessory you have selected. Okay, and then right here, you can have the filter for all these accessory. For example, I want to see the pull-out, the trash can pull-out. Here's all the trash can pull-out options. Okay, or if you want to filter by different color, different material, you can do that as well. Okay, champagne maple, wooden pull-out. Okay, here's all the options. Okay, and then once I go to this cabinet right here, the base 4-high door with a pull-out drawer on top. And then when I go into this accessory options, you can see here's a lot less options I can select. Okay, so on this cabinet right here, I have 4 pages of all the accessories I can select. But when I go to this cabinet here, since I have the roll drawer on top, my accessory list goes down to 2 pages only. Okay, so basically the engineering team has already done the calculation. these are all the accessories that will be able to fit in this cabinet. Okay, so that's the logic of the accessory cabinet. Okay, any questions on the accessory cabinet? Okay, so move on to the next one for appliances. Okay, so for appliances cabinet, same thing, there is different configuration. So we have the one drawer on top of the appliances. So all these are base appliances cabinets, okay? So we have one drawer on top of the appliances, a filler on top of the appliances, one drawer on the bottom of the appliances with Gola, one drawer on top, one drawer on bottom, two drawer, and then one drawer on the bottom. Okay, so for all the appliances cabinets, once you place your cabinet in your drawing, right here, here's the thing I want to mention. So all these dimension here, so the cabinet height is basically overall height of the cabinets that's will be the same as other cabinets. Okay, so this drawer box height right here is basically controlled by these appliances, right? So designer does not have control on this drawer box height. So how we set up in the design studio is that for all the appliances cabinet with this kind of built-in appliances, you have this option right here called appliances. Okay, so once you click on this appliances, you'll see all the appliances options. Okay, so once you select the different appliances, you'll see the height of the appliances will be changing. Okay, so let me select one that's more obvious. Okay, so you can see the drawer height, the drawer front height is changed according to this appliances on top. Okay, so same thing. If you have appliances that request a lot of space that doesn't allow you to have a drawer on the bottom, it will basically pop out an error message, tells you that this so right here, the drawer box height is not correct. So it does not have enough clearance for you to put a drawer. Okay. So same thing for all the appliances. You will have the filter by different appliances brand, or you can filter by single oven, double oven, or you can filter by appliances width. So all these appliances information should be provided by your customer, and then you should be able to find, like since we have already built in a lot of appliances in our category, the category. So you have, you can try to find the appliances in the catalog first. And then if there's any appliances that your customer used, but it's not in this catalog, we have a appliances request form designers can submit. So our engineer team will be adding the appliances to the software. So that means that the engineer team will do this calculation on this opening height of this cabinet. Okay. Any questions on the appliances cabinet?
So the appliance request form is something separate from the design software? Or is it?
Yes, it's a form that you guys have to fill in, but it's just basically a, you just need to fill in the brand of the appliances and the appliances model number.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on the appliances cabinet? Okay, so the next cabinet on the base cabinet will be the open box. Okay, so for the open box cabinet, the open cabinet. So the very important thing I want to mention here. So for the regular base cabinet, all the width, the depth, the height here is reference to the cabinet carcass, the cabinet body. Okay, so here the cabinet depth 24, which is not including the door. It's for the cabinet body only. So the cabinet body is 24. But for the open box, we want to make sure that the front of the open box is aligned with the cabinet door, not the cabinet carcass, right? So everything will be set flush. Okay, so how we set this up in this design software is that we have this depth on this open box cabinet called bounding box depth. Okay, so this bounding box is this the blue line that you see in this drawing right now. Okay, so you see the blue line is right here, aligned with the base cabinet carcass, the cabinet body. Okay, so this depth right here is basically the cabinet body depth that you're trying to align with. And then the engineer team has already done the calculation to add additional space right here. So you can see in the front of this blue line, here is the oversize of this cabinet to make sure this cabinet is aligned with the door. So the actual depth of this cabinet here is actually 24 and 7/8. Okay, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so it's easier. So when you're trying to modify your base cabinet to, let's say 26-inch depth, when you have an open box right next to that base cabinet, you don't have to manually calculate what's the depth of the cabinet that can be aligned with that 26 cabinet plus the door bumper. You basically set the open box to the same depth as your base cabinet, whichever depth you want to align with. And then the system itself will automatically calculate the front edge right here. Okay. Okay, so for this open box, a feature right here, is called a divider. So it's the same thing for the open box and for all the wall cabinets. Once this cabinet is bigger than 42-inch wide, you will automatically have a vertical device in the middle of the cabinet. Okay, and then you can always change the number of the divider. So since my cabinet size is now 44, bigger than 42, so minimum divider we'll have is 1, and then I can always change up to 4 dividers inside this cabinet. Okay, and then if I have a cabinet that's less than 42, let's say I have a cabinet that's 40-inch wide. Okay, now you can see the number of divider. You have the range from 0 to 4. Okay, so anything that's less than 42, you can have no vertical divider inside of this cabinet. You can always add more divider if you want. Okay. And then for shelf, same thing. You can always adjust the shelf quantity for this cabinet as well. But that's something that you have to go into Resource Manager. That's something that we have the training document on, we are slowly building up our training document for different topic. So that's one of the topic for adjust the shelf quantity. So in this Resource Manager, so you'll find this cabinet the box divider, this open box cabinet right here. And then in this drop-down menu, you see the shelf. And here's the shelf quantity. Okay, as a default, we start with one shelf. And you can always remove the shelf. Or you can always add more shelf inside this cabinet. Okay. Any questions on the open box cabinet?
Is there a way to, let's say you wanted a different interior color, can you do that?
Yes. So to change the material of the cabinet is the same thing for all the cabinets right here. Style replacement. And then here you will see the case material option. Okay, so for example, I can change it to,
But what if I just wanted the interior a different finish than the outside?
so that's currently not available because like for the open box, you're seeing the, it's the same finish for the side. You mean the different finish for the shelf only? Or
Like just the interior, the shelves and the interior of the cabinet.
okay, so that's basically depends on the material you're using, right? So for this open box, if I select the American walnut, so this material itself does have the same finish on both sides. So if we're using this material for the open box, you will basically seeing the same finish like inside and outside. There's no different. Yeah, there won't be different finish on both sides.
Okay.
Okay, but when we have a let's say when we're using a matte finish material,
Mm-hmm.
still like on the drawing it shows the same. But right here you will see a option, finish side facing in or finish side facing out.
Okay.
So basically this finish side tells you that like for the wood texture, most of the wood texture have the same finish, same texture on both sides. But for the high gloss and the matte material, the high gloss side or the matte finish side is only on one side. So that's something that you can change. The matte finish will be on the inside of the cabinet, or the matte finish will be on the outside of the cabinet.
Let's see.
Okay, but it still have the same color.
Okay.
Okay, so next one. Any other questions on the open box? Okay, so we move on to the panels. Okay, so all these panels are panels for base cabinets, and then they all have different name for different purpose, for different use. So start with this most basic one, the panel side. So this one is a side panel for base cabinets. Okay. So that will be used on the side of the base cabinet, panel side. Okay, so this panel here, all the side panel, you can see the depth is the same logic as the open box that we mentioned earlier. Okay, so the depth that you need to input in the design software will just be the depth of the cabinet. Okay, so the cabinet depth, and then so you see the red line right here, that's the panel depth 24. And then you see the space between the red line and the green line right here. So that's the overlay that the engineer team has already preset in the design software. So that's something that helps you doing the design. Doesn't matter what's your cabinet size, the side panel will always be flush with the cabinet door. Okay. So the front edge right here. And then one thing in the advanced tool, all the side panel will have a depth oversize 1 inch and the height oversize 1 inch. Okay, so you can see the drawing right here. You can see the the green line behind this panel is kind of like sticking inside to the wall. So that's something that's designed it for all the side panel. For example, this panel right here, you have a cabinet that's 24-inch depth. So this front overlay here is calculated with the door thickness, 3/4 inch, the door bumper, 1/8 of an inch. So that's total of 7/8 of an inch on top of that 24-inch depth. But the real panel that we send out to the customer will have another additional 1 inch on this depth. So since not all the walls are perfectly straight, I would say none of the walls are perfectly straight. So all the side panels that we provide will have this 1 inch depth. So contractor will have to trim the panel on site during the installation. Okay, same thing for the height. Okay, you can see this red line, the red outline right here. That's the depth. That's the height of the panel here, 30 inch, which will align with the cabinet. But when you have this panel go all the way to the floor, which will be 34.5, the same height as the cabinet car case with the toe kit. Okay, so if you have a side panel that goes all the way to the floor, okay, so same thing on the bottom. You will see this, the oversized edge right here on the bottom. So same thing, even when we design a panel 34.5, the real panel that we provide is gonna be 35.5. So there will be 1 inch oversized height. So the contractor will have to trim on site. Okay, so just to make sure that there won't be any gap between the panel and the floor. Okay, any questions on the oversized panel? No questions? Okay, and then we'll move on to the island side panel. Okay. So for the island cabinets, okay. So for example, I have a island designed in the middle of the room. Okay, so the island panel, the island side panel will be attached to the side of the island. Okay, so no question. Okay, so the difference between this base side panel and this island side panel is that for the base cabinet, the base side panel, since one of the edge is attached to the wall. So contractor will have to train this panel, modify this panel on site, and then the edge that has been cut will be attached to the wall. Okay, so it's not gonna be visible after installation. But for the island side panel, both the front edge and the back edge will be exposed after installation. Okay, since this panel is not attached to any of the wall. Okay, so this island side panel will have to be exact size, and contractor will not need to trim this panel on site. So for this panel, we will have the so this blue line right here is the depth of the cabinet. Okay, so it will be aligned with the 24-inch depth cabinet. On the front here, you'll see the review, the overlay here. That's aligned with the cabinet door. So that'd be 7/8. 3/8 of the door thickness plus 1/8 of the door bumper. Okay, so the front edge will always align. And then for the back edge here, you can either have a panel on the back on the island, or when you have another wall cabinet, another cabinet that's behind, back to back. So when you're trying to draw this island, you kind of have to go to the 2D view. And then okay, here's how you to move the cabinets. Okay, so if that's my island, right, I have cabinets back to back. So this island side panel, the depth here will basically need to be the two cabinet depth add up together. Okay, so this panel I need here will basically be 48. So to move this panel in this situation right here, right, I want my panel to be the same location as my cabinet. So when I click on this cabinet here, it shows me from this cabinet to this wall dimension is 86.5. And then I just need to click on my panel. Okay, same thing here, 86.5. Okay, so now my panel is on the same location, the same placement of my cabinets. And back to the 3D view. Okay, so for this island side panel, the panel width will be the two cabinets depth plus the front and the back review. Okay. Any questions on the island side panel? And then again, since this panel has to be the exact width, contractor cannot train this panel on site. Both the front and the back edge has to be finished edge. So there's no oversized option on the width, but it does have the oversized option on the height. So you can either have this panel the same height as the cabinet, or you can have this cabinet go all the way down to the floor. Okay, so in this case, since the panel is attaching to the floor, it has to have 1-inch height oversize. Okay, any question on the side panel?
Was it finished on the other side of the panel, like when the door opens? Can you see?
Yes.
Is it the whole panel or just like an inch of it or something?
Yeah, it's just a regular panel that has so I can move it over here. So yes, it does have finish on both sides, but just keep in mind for the high gloss and the matte material, the high gloss or the matte finish is only on one side. So there will be one side will have the matte or high gloss PET, and then the other side will just have the melamine with the matching material. Okay, so when contractor doing the installation, they will definitely want the matte finish or the high gloss finish, the finish side facing out. to be the exposed side that we'll see.
I see. Okay.
Okay. And then move on to the next one. Same thing on the island. Let me change my island design. Just give me a second. Okay. So another situation on your island design, you might have end panel on both sides. And then on the back, I don't have another row of the cabinet. I just have a back panel on the back of my cabinets. So right here, here's a panel back, which will be the panel that can be used on the back of your island. Okay, so for the back panel, same thing. Like it's a little bit tricky to be snapped onto the back of the cabinet. Since this design software does not have any, it doesn't set up for any snap point on the back of the cabinet. So if you want to attach anything on the back of the cabinet, you kind of have to place it to have some distance from this cabinet, like away from this cabinet, and then go to the 2D view. So I want to move this back panel attached to the back of my cabinet. So here it shows me the distance between this back panel to my cabinet. I just change this distance to 0. Now I have this back panel attached to the back of my cabinet. Okay, and then I still want to do some adjustment to make sure the panel is aligned with the cabinet. So same thing here again. Click on this cabinet. So the distance from this cabinet to the wall, 186 and 7/8. And then I want to make sure this panel here is on the same dimension, 186 and 7/8. Okay, so now this panel has been placed to the correct location, okay, on the back of my cabinet here. Okay, so here's the item back panel. Height. Okay, so here's the item back panel. Okay, so for this item back panel, usually we just provide the exact height and the width, because there's no any additional calculation, right? It's just the 3 cabinet adding up together. So there's no preset overlay for the front. It's not like the side panel. You always have the preset already for the front edge and the back edge. But for the back panel, basically that's the dimension you will get on this panel. Okay, so for this design right here, through of my cabinet, 30 inch, 30 inch, 30 inch. Okay, so the total will be 90 inch width. That's it. There's no additional like reviews or oversize. But here is option for you to add oversize. Okay, so just in case some customer or they might worry that doing on the job site, there might be some missed car or something. Customer prefer to have oversize. You can always change that on here. You have the option for oversize height and you have option for oversize width. Okay, and then one more thing I want to mention about this panel right here. So for the material of this panel, so as a default, all the wood texture material will have a vertical grain. Okay, so once I selected a wooden panel, a wooden texture for this panel, it will automatically give me a horizontal grain. So the reason is that when you have a vertical grain, for example, for this material, the maximum width of this material is only go up to 48 inch wide. Second, there's a okay, so actually this panel let me see. I think there's a little bit issue on this cutter. I'll need to report to the engineer team. Let me change to another cutter here. Okay, so there's something I need to report. So just keep in mind when you do the design. So for all the wooden panel, the wooden texture panel, the maximum width is usually like 48 to 62. So if you have a cabinet, the island back panel that's 90-inch width, you won't be able to make one piece panel that's 90-inch width with the vertical grain. So you have to either make it to two panels, or you have to change the grain direction to horizontal grain.
So what do we use to seam that if we go with 48-inch panel, 2 panels?
So you mean how to do the two panel?
Well, you're gonna have a seam in the center, right? So
Yes, yes.
what would you do there? Avoid it at all costs, but vertical may be the way to go because the side panels,
Yes.
the rest of the kitchen's most likely gonna be
Mhm.
vertical.
Yeah. So actually, since this issue only appears on the wood texture panel, right? Because
Oh,
if it's a solid cutter, it doesn't matter what's the direction, right? And since there's no
okay.
grain.
I had to
But-
take a break, so I can't, you may have already discussed that, so.
Yeah, yeah. So
Sorry.
yeah, like I can't remember if we have discussed it in the product training, but yes, for the solid color, since there won't be any green, so there won't be any issue when you have a 90-inch wide panel. But for
Right.
anything with the green, yes, you will have to break it to two panel if it exists the maximum width. But we have a couple of this kind of design situation in our showroom. With all these wood textures, I won't say the seam is very noticeable. So it depends on the customer if it's acceptable for them.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted vertical, we have to use 48-inch panels. So is there trim pieces for that seam?
No, there is no any trim pieces.
So you could just leave it like 1/8 inch reveal and back it with something as far as making it look like a door front.
So
Or just keep it tight.
Yeah.
just
could
keep
you
it tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to do this in
But that's
the
like a finished edge. If you do 2 panels, would those edges be finished? Were they the butt joints?
the edge, it depends on the design. If you provide two panel with the exact size, yes, there will be two finished edge.
Okay.
But I would say in reality, like personally, I will prefer these two edge, the center joint here. So I will prefer to provide both panel with additional width, like oversized width, so contractor can trim outside.
Yeah.
So these two edge right here at the center won't have any edge bending. That's a design I prefer. Cause like when you have the edge bending, actually you can see the thickness of the edge bending from the front.
Yeah.
So when you keep the edge bending on these two panel on the seam here, the seam will be more noticeable. But if you have the contractor trim outside to remove this edge bending, so when you provide the oversized panel, contractor cut the panel, and without edge bending, when these two panel jointed together, this seam will be very small.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, personally, I prefer this kind of design. Like it has better result after installation. But like we do have contractor who doesn't want to do too much cutting on site. They just want us to provide the exact size panel.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like up to design. Okay, so that's the island back panel. Any questions on the back panel? Okay, so next one I wanna go over is the panel front. So the panel front is basically a front panel. Okay, so the front panel is designed it for the custom, sorry, let me drag the cabinet over. Okay, so the front panel is designed it for for the appliances that requires a custom panel ready front. Okay, so that's can be used for the custom panel. Okay, so for example, if customer is using a panel ready dishwasher, then you should be using this panel front as a dishwasher panel. Okay, so the width and the height of this front panel here will always to set as the same width and height as our cabinet car case. Okay. And then on the bottom here, you'll see this front panel will have the same review as all the base cabinets. Okay, so earlier when we use the side panel or the island panel, okay, so there is no any review on these panels. Okay, the side panel and the back panel, there's no review on the panel. But this front panel, it does have review for the top, bottom, left, and right. So basically it has been set up with, has the same review as the base cabinet. So when you have a 24-inch wide cabinet, 24-inch wide dishwasher, and when you're using this front panel, all this review right here helps you to get a same dimension as this cabinet when you have a cabinet next to the dishwasher that has the same width and height. Okay, so this setup right here or the review on this panel help you to make sure that the dishwasher panel will have the same height as this base cabinet door. Okay, so it does have the 316 review on top, 116 review on both sides, and 116 on the bottom. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so for most of the appliances, most of the dishwasher, this review, following our standard review will work. But for some of the special dishwasher, for example, like dishwasher drawer, which won't be the same height as our base for high door cabinet. So don't expect those kind of appliances will be aligned with our cabinet, or you have to adjust our cabinet height, like the drawer height on the cabinet, to align with that dishwasher, the drawer dishwasher. Otherwise, for most of the time, for most of the appliances, we will just be using our standard review, and then the door height will be the same height as our cabinet. Okay, so if you have any special appliances, like for example, dishwasher drawer, you kind of have to follow their spec to input all the width, the height of the panel based on the spec requirement. And in that case, you will have to remove all the reviews on the bottom. Okay. So that's the front panel. And then we have another panel that's very similar, which is this panel cutout. So same thing, is also a front panel, but it's designed it for the front panel for the wine cooler. So a lot of times the wine cooler will have a cutout at the center for the glass insert. Okay. So this panel is a front panel with the center cutout. And the same thing, all the top bottom review is here. And then you will have customization feature right here. So based on, so this kind of panel with the front cutout, you have to check the appliances spec to see what's the cutout dimension. So you can change the bottom dimension, the bottom distance right here. So as a default, we have 3 inch on the bottom, 3 inch on the side. You can always change the dimension to adjust the cutout opening. Okay, any questions on the front panels? Okay, so moving on to the horizontal panels. So we have couple of the horizontal panel. The first one right here is just a panel horizontal. That's the regular panel thickness, which will be 3/4 inch thickness right here. So this can be used for like entertainment center, study area. Sometimes the customer will be using it as a tabletop for like study room, like entertainment center, but it's not gonna be a heavy duty work area. It's not gonna be used in the kitchen. Okay, so so this one is just a single layer horizontal panel. And then we have this panel with double layer, panel top double, and we have the panel top triple. Okay, so the double layer will just be 2 layer of the 3/4 inch panel, which means the thickness of the panel will be 1.5 inch. That's the thickness of the panel. And then we have the triple layer. The triple layer is basically 2 of the 3/4 inch material plus 1 of the 1/2 inch material. So that's triple layer means 2 inch thickness. Okay, so one thing I want to mention for the horizontal panel, when we have a single layer horizontal panel, in the style replacement, you can basically find all the material options. You can use any of the material for this single layered, the regular horizontal panel, right? Because it's just a regular panel. And then if you have a double layer or triple layer material, triple layer panel, so you can see the material option is a lot less than a single layer horizontal panel. Okay, so for the double layer or the triple layer horizontal panel, we need to make sure that on the edge of that panel, it's gonna be an edge banding on all edge of the panel, right? Because even though we say it's it's 2 layer of the material stacking together, we don't want to see 2 lines of the edge banding on the side. Okay, so for this product, the double panel and the triple panel, we want to make sure that this material itself comes with the 1.5 inch edge band or comes with 2 inch edge band. Okay, so that's why there is material limitation on these 2 products. Okay, so all the material options that you see in this product basically means that all these material will have the 1.5 or 2 inch or 2 inch edge banding. Okay, so there's limitation on this product itself. Okay, and also on the bottom of the panel in this rendering, you see that for a single layer panel, it's just a solid panel, right? It's just a regular panel, like you just use it horizontally. But for this double layer and this triple layer, the tabletop, since it's gonna be used as a tabletop or like on the island. So on the bottom, it won't be visible. It's kind of have a frame on the bottom. It's not a solid material with like double or triple layer. So it does have a frame on the bottom, and you will see the internal edge is not edge banded. Okay, so if you're using this horizontal panel, only use it for tabletop. Use as a tabletop. Do not use it like above the eye level. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me go to the showroom. Oh, sorry. So I think we kind of mentioned this during the product training previously. So that's the tabletop panel that we mentioned here. Okay, so basically on the bottom of the Cupertino or UCT. Okay, so this tabletop right here. So that's what we just discussed earlier. So that's the tabletop panel. And then CT. Okay, so in Rev City showroom, we also have this kind of design, right? So it's on the island. We have the tabletop panel extended out, but we also want something to support this tabletop panel. Okay, so in this case, we have a panel on the side as a support, kind of like waterfall, right? So in this case, we want to make sure the both front and back of this panel here will have finished, right? It's a finished material. It doesn't have the cutout on the bottom. Okay, so what we need to do here in this case, we have this panel right here, the panel double with solid. Okay, so this panel right here, the panel double solid will have a solid front and the back. It does not have the cutout as the horizontal panel. Okay, so the horizontal panel has this. Sorry. Okay, right here. So the horizontal panel has a cutout on the bottom. Okay, makes sense. Any question on this panel? No questions?
No.
Okay, so that's all the base panels we have. Okay, and then moving on to the fillers. So for the base filler, there's all the different options for the base filler. So start with the most basic one, the filler 3/4. Okay. Okay, so this filler right here, the filler 3/4 inch is basically only showing the edge of the filler material. So that's the material thickness, 3/4 inch. Okay, so that's most likely being used in between the cabinets or in between the cabinet and the appliances. You're only using the edge of the filler. Okay, so right here, you can change the filler depth, which will be this dimension right here. I can change it from the default is 3 inch, but when I change to 6 inch, you can see that's the depth of the filler. Okay, but the front is still remain at the 3/4 inch. Okay, so that's the first filler, the 3/4 inch filler. And then we have the second one right here. Filler 1 inch to 2 inch. Okay, so this filler is more commonly used in between the cabinet and the wall. Okay, so for this filler, basically we just use this filler like horizontally. Customer or the contractor have to trim this filler on site. So right here, you can change the width of the filler from 1 inch to 2 inch. Okay, so that's basically the limitation on this 1 to 2 inch filler. Okay, now you can see the width of the filler has been changed. Okay, so now questions. So if there's a filler space that is more than 2 inch, right, which is very common when we have a cabinet against to the wall, then we need to use this filler L shape. Okay, the L shape filler. So for the L shape filler, we have the filler left and filler right. Okay, so the left side filler, the filler the L left side will be installed on the left side of the cabinet. The filler R, the right side filler will be installed on the right side of the cabinet. Okay, so you can see the L shape is different. Okay, so the filler will be always attached to the cabinet. It cannot be attached to the wall. It will always be attached to the cabinet. Okay, so for this cabinet, for this L-shaped filler here, the width limitation will always be from 2 inch to 6 inch. Okay, so anything that's more than 2 inch, we suggest all designers, like you will have to use this base L-shaped filler. Okay, so we have designed this filler for all the installer. So you can see the structure of this L-shaped filler. Actually, we just updated this last week, so it should the drawing should be updated as well. I think the engineer team will be working on it this week. But the L-shaped filler, when we ship out, it will come with 2 components. One is the side panel, one is the front panel. So basically, contractor, the installer, the cabinet installer, will have to align the side panel to our cabinet body and then attach the front panel to the side panel. So that will make sure everything is flush with the cabinet door.
So does
Okay.
that filler have an overlay on it, or is it just one front filler? 'Cause
So the new structure of the L-shaped filler should just be 2 piece only.
Okay, because it looks like,
Yeah, right now it looks like 3 piece.
Yes.
But we just updated this structure last week. Yeah, so
okay,
the engineer team should be working on this design studio drawing this week.
okay. And then what would be the reason for that other filler, the 1 inch to 2 inch? Like why have that? Why not just trim down the 3 inch or whatever?
Okay, so for this L-shaped filler, since we have a side panel right here, like not the side panel, like the side part right here that's attached to the cabinet. And then behind this L shape, actually, we have a Kiku bracket, which is the hardware that we use to connect this front part and the side part.
Mhm.
Okay, so actually the new L-shaped filler should be able to cut down the minimum to 1 inch.
Mhm.
Okay, but since like the old design, this one, since the hardware on the back is 1 inch wide already. So
Mm.
basically you cannot cut this filler anywhere less than that's 1.5 inch. So you cannot cut this filler anything less than 1.5 inch. So that's why we have the minimum on this L-shaped filler is 2 inch
Okay, I
right
see.
here. Yeah, so but sometimes the customer will have a request that I don't want to see the filler that's more than 2 inch. That's too big of gap. Then in this case, we'll have our designer use this one, the 1 to 2 inch filler.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but in the new design, we should be able to have the engineering team update this week. So we will have the 1 and 2 inch filler combined it into the L-shaped filler and with the new L-shaped design.
Okay.
Okay, that's the filler. So this filler, same thing, like is designed it to have the front of the filler align with the door. So after installation, like at the front, you should be everything set flush.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Any question on the base fillers? Okay, and then one more thing I want to mention here under the base filler, you can see there is a option for TK toe kick. So for the toe kick panel, actually that's not how we want to generate toe kick in the cabinet design. But this toe kit right here is basically just for for designers when customer requires to have additional toe kit materials. Okay, so that's just for extra toe kits we want to provide to customer. You can see it's not snapped onto any of the cabinet. You basically just place inside of the room, and it's just gonna be an additional piece for customer to trim on site. Okay. Okay, and then we have 2 more categories for cabinets, for base cabinets. One is the cabinet for cooktop. So that's a combination model that the engineering team has created. That's actually for the engineer team. For example, this cabinet for cooktop is basically the same cabinet we use, just the D1, D1W, right? Just the base cabinet with drawers on top, doors on the bottom. The only difference is that since you're going to put a cooktop on top of this cabinet, so there won't be anything inside of this drawer. So this drawer will just be a false panel. Okay, so what they did on this cabinet, B1D1W, 1W1D for the cooktop, they basically has changed the preset, the default setting of this cabinet. So the top drawer has already been removed it. So as we mentioned, when we go over the cabinet for sink, you have to remove the top drawer box, change it to a false front. But for a cooktop, the engineering basically has already changed the default value for all the designers. So you can just pull the cabinet and it's ready to use. Okay, so it's very similar to other cabinets. You will be able to change all the width, depth, height, the style of the cabinet. But in order for you to change all the advanced options, for example, like push open, tip on, or adjust the shelf quantity, stuff like that, you kind of have to double click this cabinet, and now you see all these advanced features popping out right here. Okay, so you can, so basically this is a cabinet that already has a group that's grouping up the default setting. So you can either double click on this cabinet to see all the advanced feature, or you can click on this cabinet and then right here, you see the option to ungroup this cabinet. Okay. So now when you click on this cabinet, you will see all the functions you can change right here. Okay, so same thing for cooktop with apron or with the drawer.
So is it possible to have like a shallow drawer on the top with a cooktop? Because I know I've designed kitchens before like that. You know, as long as all the mechanical stuff clears.
You mean for this one? The
Yeah.
1W1D?
Either that one or any of the ones with the top drawer or a false drawer on the top.
Mm-hmm. So if it's for this cabinet right here, one drawer on top, doors on the bottom, basically the smallest drawer, like the shortest. I'm not sure if you're talking about the depth of the drawer box or the height of the drawer box.
I think both.
Okay, so if you're talking about the height of the drawer box, for right now, the drawer box height, we only have 3 different size. So the smallest we can go is 4-inch. Which in most of the case, if you have a cooktop in this cabinet, the 4-inch drawer box will not work underneath this cooktop.
Right.
Okay, so there's no option for you to add a drawer box underneath.
Okay.
But for example, this cabinet right here, the
Mhm.
cooktop cabinet with 3 drawer. Okay, so basically the top drawer box will have to remove. So you can see on the side, the top drawer will just be the false front panel. There's no drawer behind.
Right.
On the bottom 2 drawer, actually we have already did a preset on the bottom 2 drawer. So there will be a additional space behind the drawer box. So for a regular base cabinet, if the cabinet is 24-inch depth, the drawer box will always be 21-inch depth. Okay, but if it's a cabinet designed for cooktop or designed for a range top, and then you have the drawer box on the bottom, the drawer box will always be 18 or less. So you have more clearance behind the drawer box for any type of electrical or the gas pipeline, stuff like that. So that's same thing already preset it in this cabinet. Okay, so for the cooktop and range top cabinet, the drawer box will always be 18-inch.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if you want to make this drawer box even smaller, yes, you do have option right here. You can always add more space behind this drawer to make this drawer box smaller.
I see.
Okay. Okay, and then we have the cabinet that's designed it for range top. Okay, so for the range top cabinet, again, is a combination model, means that is a item that has been grouped it together. So basically is a cabinet and a range top that has been grouped it together. So on this model here, you'll see the custom feature right here. You can change the range top height and the countertop thickness. So basically in this kind of design, if customer has a range top, the height of the cabinet will be determined based on the height of this range top, right? Based on, oh, sorry. Okay, so if you have a range top, the cabinet on the bottom of the range top, it has to be designed based on the height of this range top. You have to reference the appliances spec. Okay, so to make all the designer easier, so right here, you basically just need to input the range top height, the insulation height of the range top, and then the countertop thickness. That's basically the 2 value that will affect the cabinet height on the bottom. So basically, for example, if I have a range top that has an insulation height at 8-inch, and then my customer is using a regular 1.5-inch countertop, so I can change my range top insulation height to 8-inch, and then you will see the cabinet size is changed according to these appliances on top. Okay, any questions on this range top or cooktop cabinet? Questions? Okay, and then we move on to the wall cabinets. Okay, so starting from this regular wall cabinet. Same thing, we go over all the, like the very basic functions of this wall cabinet. So you can change the wall width, depth, and the height of this cabinet. Okay, you can always change the distance above the floor to any distance you need. Okay, and then once you snap the second wall cabinet, you will automatically snap to the same height. Okay. So for the custom features, the more the advanced feature for the wall cabinet, the first custom feature you'll see here is the wall bottom up. So that's the one of the option for the handleless that we mentioned previously in the product training. So down on here you have the drop down menu. So as a default, there won't be any wall bottom up, but you have options for the wall bottom up from 5/16 all the way up to 1.5 inch. Okay, so when I select 1 inch wall bottom up, and then now you can see the change on this cabinet. The bottom panel of this cabinet will be moved up 1 inch. Okay, so basically the door front of this cabinet stay the same, does not change. And then the wall bottom up value controls the height of the cabinet box. Okay, no question on this? Okay, so another handleless option will be this one, the wall gola. Same thing we have mentioned it during the product training. So the wall gola, it's not like the base gola. So for the base gola, since all the base cabinet with gola will have different options, different configurations, right? So for example, for the 2-drawer, you will have gola at the center, you have gola on the top and also on the center. So there for the same base 2-drawer cabinet, you will have different option for the gola. But for the wall gola, you basically only have one channel on the bottom. So it's just gonna be the option inside this wall cabinet. Under wall gola, you can select yes. And now when you open the cabinets, right here on the bottom of this wall cabinet, here is the wall gola we just added. Okay, so if I remove this wall gola, it will just be the regular panel. Okay. And then here's the wall gola. Okay, and then just keep in mind the wall gola does not work with the wall bottom up together. Because like these two features is basically the same feature. Well, it basically the same thing, right? It's both working as a handleless solution. So it does not work together. Like you don't need two functions together. Okay, so when you have wall gola, you don't need the wall bottom up. Make sure the wall bottom up is at 0. Okay, any questions on the handleless option, the wall bottom up and the wall gola? No question? Okay, so next I want to go over the LED options in the wall cabinet. Okay, so earlier for the base cabinet, we only have the bottom LED, which is the token LED for the base cabinet. But for the wall cabinet, we do have the top LED, the side LED, and the bottom LED. So the top LED will be the LED on the internal top. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 minute. Let me mute my mic for a minute. Give me a couple minutes. Sorry, I need to move to another office. They have the meeting in this office, so give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Sorry. Okay, sorry, I'm back here. Okay, so let's continue on the LED for the wall cabinets. Okay, so for the top LED and the side LED, so these will be the LED option inside of this cabinet. Okay, so for top LED, once I select yes on the top LED option, here you'll see here is the LED inside this cabinet. So it's in the internal top of this cabinet. Okay, right here. And then once I select the top LED to yes, and now you'll see on the bottom here, you'll see the LED distance. Okay, so it's not like the toolkit LED. We don't have option for toolkit LED to adjust the distance of the LED. But for the wall LED, you will have option here. You can select the LED at the middle, the center of this top panel as a default, or you can select the LED distance to be towards the front or the LED towards the back. Okay. And then right here on the bottom, so you'll see if a bottom, another window right here, the calculated LED distance. So this one, you'll see like you are not able to change anything right here. But it's basically a value that tells you if I have the LED towards the center, this dimension here will be the LED dimension from the back to the front. Okay, so if I have a top LED distance at the middle, means that this LED will be located 5 and 5/8 inch from the back, from this back panel. If I have this top LED towards the front, basically here this dimension tells me that this LED location will be 9 inch from the back to the front. Okay, so the distance will be 9 inch from the back. Okay, any questions on the LED location and the LED distance?
So this is the LED on the wall cabinets, it has like a route, but is
Yes.
it same like the base where where the contractor needs to install it themselves, or is it already in there?
So yeah, so for the wall LED, there will be routing inside the cabinet or on the bottom of the cabinet. So for the wall LED, yes, there will be routing. But the contractor will still need to do some installations. So basically like, for example, like putting the channels, especially the bottom LED, cause like in the current design, for example, if I have the bottom LED, yes. And then this channel here, the bottom LED channel, it will be cut on the bottom panel only.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's not cut through the side panel. But when I have all the wall cabinets together on the same wall, right? Most of the case, customer would like to have this LED piece to be a one continuous piece,
Mhm.
right? So the contractor will have to manually cut on site for this two side panel to make sure that these two LED can be jointed together. Okay, so it's just the same thing as Gola, right? Science is a continuous piece. It will have to be installed after the cabinet has been like lined up together. And then contractor will have to install this LED channel on the bottom. Okay, all the routing will be pre-finished. So this panel will be pre-routed in our production shop. All contractor need to do is just cut through the side panel. Okay,
Okay.
because like in the design studio, the software itself, basically the software is not able to tell from your on your design like which panel they have to cut through, which panel does not. So that's basically the contractor have to decide on site. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So same thing for the internal LED. So all the LED channels or the routing will be done in production shop, but the contractor will still have to install this LED and also especially to connect with power supply, connect with controller, stuff like that. All these will have to done on job site. Okay, and then another thing I want to mention about the LED, when you have the LED inside the wall cabinet, when you have the LED on top and LED on the side. So for the side LED, you have option LED on left side or right side only, or you can have LED on both sides. So when you have the LED inside the wall cabinet for both the top and the side, make sure that you have select the same location for the LED. Okay, do not do something like this. Have different LED location, one in the middle, one in the front. It's very difficult for contractor to route through like 2 times on each cabinet to have this LED connected. So make sure that if you have LED on both the top and the side, you want to make sure that they are in the same location. Okay, so in this case, the side LED and the top LED can be all connected together at once. They don't need to do additional routings. Okay, any question on the wall LED option? Okay, and then going back to the advanced tool. Okay, so next one I want to go over is the wall cabinet with the flip-top option. Okay, so the first one will be the Avento HK, which is the single lift-up cabinet. Sorry. Okay, so the first one will be the single lift-up cabinet. And then right here, so for this regular wall cabinet, same thing as the base cabinet, you will have the option for door configuration and the hinge configuration. You can always add the tip-on this hinge, on this door. And then sorry. Okay, and then for this wall cabinet with single lift up, so you have the hinge configuration option right here. For with hinge, no hinge, hinge with tip-on, and you do also have the option for this hinge with the servo. Okay, so this means that for this lift up door, with the handleless option, they can either do the push open, the tip-on, which does not require any electrical outlet, or they can go with the servo option, which does request the electrical when they install this cabinet. So this, if customer requests a vento lift up with servo, they will have to make sure they have pre-planned it for the electrical outlet for the servo. Okay, and then the vento HF, the wall HF cabinet, that's the bifold cabinet. This door is not opened up correctly, but it should be this cabinet right here. So that's 2-door flipping up, bifold. Okay, so same thing here. It does have the wall bottom up feature, but for this bifold cabinet, this hardware, the bifold hardware does not work with the tip-on. So you will not be able to find the hinge option with tip-on on this cabinet. If customer want the handleless solution on this cabinet, either they can do the wall bottom up, or they will have to go with the electrical servo option. Okay, for this tip-on, for this bifold cabinet. Okay, any questions on these two wall lift-up cabinets? Okay, so one more thing I want to mention about the wall lift-up cabinet, these two cabinets. So for the regular cabinets, the regular wall cabinet, for example, the width limitation, you can design all the way from 9-inch width, 9-inch wide to 72-inch wide, even though you're gonna have the vertical partition in the middle of the cabinet. And then the height, you can go all the way from 9-inch to 60-inch for the wall cabinet height. Okay, but for these two flip-up cabinets, the Avento HK, the height limitation is from 10-inch to 24-inch. And then the width is basically from 9-inch to the maximum of the panel width. So this is due to the limitation on the hardware itself. Okay, so this hardware, the Avento HK, does not allow you to have a door height is this 24-inch. So therefore, that's the limitation on this cabinet. Same thing for the bifold cabinet. The height limitation for the bifold cabinet, minimum is 20, and then maximum is 42. Okay, the width will be minimum 9 and maximum the panel width. Okay, so that's something that you guys want to keep in mind. Okay, and then again for this, 1 second. Again, for this wall cabinet with single lift up, so same thing, once you have the cabinet width, that's exists 42. So starting from 42, you will have a middle partition inside of this cabinet. Okay, so we will zoom into this cabinet, and you will see here, so there's two hardware on the side of this cabinet. And once you have the cabinet width up about 42-inch wide, you'll see this middle partition and the third hardware installed on this middle partition. Okay, so that's due to the same thing due to the hardware limitation. When you have a cabinet that's wider than 42, 2 hardware is not enough to support this door when it's more than 42-inch wide. Okay, so that's why we have this cabinet designed it, the wall cabinet main leaf. Okay, so it's not like the Avento HK cabinet. When you open this cabinet, it stay at the certain angle. And when you try to close it, it just basically push on it, flip it down, it's done. But this cabinet right here, main leaf, you can see the inside of this cabinet. Here's the hardware we use on this main leaf cabinet. So basically means that you have to manually lift up this cabinet. You heard the click sound and then stop at the center angle. And then to close it down, do you see the two knobs inside this cabinet? You basically have to manually pull the two knobs on the side, okay, at the same time, in order for you to close up the door. Okay, so the reason why we designed this cabinet is only for the whole cabinet use. Okay, so I think it's very common right now when you have a customer who is using a range top or cooktop or that will go with the hood that's 48-inch wide, right? For if you have a wall HK cabinet that's 48 to match with the hood on top of the hood, there will be a middle partition, right? The vertical partition at the center of this cabinet, which when you install the hood, you want to remove this middle partition in order for the hood, the ventilation to come out from this cabinet. But in this case, this hardware at the center partition will also be removed, right? Then it leaves us the issue that these two hardware on the side does not have enough power to support this door front. So that will be an issue when we have a hood cabinet that's 48-inch wide. We cannot use this cabinet. Okay, so in this case, we'll have to use this main leaf cabinet that's specially designed when you have a cabinet up to 42. So the minimum width of this cabinet will be 42. Okay, you can design this cabinet to, let's say, 48 on the top of your hood, and there won't be any middle partition. Okay, and then the two hardware will be enough to support this door to stay at the center angle. Okay, so yes, it is more difficult to close this main leaf door compared than the Avento HK or HF. So that's why this cabinet is only designed for the hood cabinet, since you won't be open up the hood cabinet like very often. It basically, you only open this cabinet for like if you need to do some service for the hood. Okay, does that make sense? Any question on this main leaf cabinet
So,
or any lift up cabinet?
so for these lift up cabinets, does it tell you like what's the distance you need? Like so that doesn't hit the ceiling, the door?
Okay, yes. Yeah, that's a nice question. Yes, I forgot to mention this part. So for this lift up door, basically for both the single lift up, the hardware itself allows you to adjust the opening angle of the door. Okay, so same thing for this HK, is inside this hardware. After contractor doing the installation, they can always manually adjust the power factor on this hardware to control the opening angle of the door. So if you don't have enough clearance, just make sure that the door opens at 90 degrees so it won't hit the ceiling. For this bifold door, since it's going up this way, yes, it does request more space on top of the cabinet between the seating. But we also, what we did is here on the bifold cabinet, as a default, when we send out this bifold cabinet, we always send out the bifold cabinet with the angle restriction clip. Okay, so I would say usually for the bifold cabinet, you want to leave at least like 6 to 10-inch space above the cabinet. But if customer does not have enough clearance on top of this cabinet, but they still want this kind of like bifold design, then what we do is we'll just provide the angle restriction clip to have this bifold door stop at I believe it's 89 degree.
Or
So
can we stack or can we stack two of the regular ones that are on the right side of that instead?
Sorry, stack two cabinet on the right side of the bifold.
No, the ones that you were showing us, the single. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the one that you have right there. Can we stack two of those on top of each other instead?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have this design, customer will use two of the single lift up stack together.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I think the only thing is that if you have two of these single lift up stacked together, the top door will be a little bit more difficult for a customer to close up, to close the door.
Right. Okay. Can you make that lift that way? Can you make that door glass too?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Give me a second.
So when you have a really long one, because you said you can go up to 101 on those long ones up on the top, is it going to be the bracket in between? Is it every 24 inches, or is it, how many inches will that spacer be if it's like 100 long inch cabinet?
So basically so the 105 is just basically telling you that it's gonna be the maximum of the panel. I will have to. Oh. Yeah, I will have to double check with the engineer team because like the second it's still telling me that the maximum I can go is 70 inch.
Okay, so what I'm saying with the 70 inches, how many middle brackets for support will there be? One?
Yeah, as a default, there will be only one
Okay.
partition.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's still one door? If it's like
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's still gonna be one door. I think I saw the picture here earlier. So this one is the bifold design. So the cabinet can go up to like 72 or even bigger. And then the door will just be single door. And then you see in the middle here, it actually has additional hardware at the center. So that will be the middle partition. And then here's the additional hardware. But you see the door is still one continuous piece. Okay. And then for the glass door, same thing in the style replacement. The door style, you'll be able to find the glass door option.
Perfect. And the glass door can also be up to 96 inches or no?
Depends on the glass door profile. So I know there's a couple of the glass door profile does not go up to 96. So we have the glass door spec. So here. So that's why I say that I'm gonna share to all of you guys after the training. Well, that's the training document folder because I will have to share to your Rumble email account. I cannot share to any of your personal email accounts. So I'm waiting to receive all the Rumble email account setup, so I can share this document link. But in this link, you will see the product related training document. And then, for example, Rumble product. And then under kitchen, and then for example, the glass door. So here's the product catalog for glass door. Okay, so for example, yeah, in terms of the height limitation, height and width limitation, for example, this glass door profile does not allow me to go up to 96. So the catalog will have this information, the physical catalog, it will have this information like what's the height limitation. But basically all this limitation is already built into the Design Studio software. So For example, if I have a tall cabinet, sorry, not for accessories. If I have a tall cabinet, which have a full height door, a single door, and then I want my cabinet cut case height up to 95, which is the maximum I can go with a plywood material. And then when I select my door style to be a glass door, okay, so basically this door profile here, the AF 016 allows me to go up to okay, so AF 016, the maximum height will be 96, so I don't have any issue. There's no error message on this cabinet. But if I select another glass door profile, for example, this one, no, this one is for the AF001, let me see this one. Okay. Okay, so if I'm using this AF001, which is this profile right here, has a height limitation at 60, then the design software itself will tells me here is a height limitation on this glass door AF001 and cannot design this cabinet with 95-inch height. Okay, the limitation will be at 60. Okay, so that's why like a lot of our product, we do not have a physical spec guide because all these limitation stuff is built into the software already. But I think it is something that is something that is better to have as a reference. Okay. Okay, so that's the wall cabinet with the glass door.
MD, did you say when we were gonna get the email?
Yes, I believe we have 3 emails set up already. We are missing on 1 email. So I will have to double check with the HR to make sure that all of you will have the Rumble email set up. Okay. So is there any questions on the wall cabinet lift up or regular wall cabinet? Okay, so move on to the wall corner cabinet.
So basically, we don't really have to use any fillers because the cabinets can be adjusted to size except for the ends and stuff, etc.
Yes, I would say most of the time we only use fillers between the cabinet and the wall. And then sometimes there might be filler requests between the cabinet and the appliances. Yeah, but like you don't have so well yeah, I won't say you don't need the filler at all, because you still need to use some fillers in your design. Okay, so again for the base for the wall corner cabinets, it's just very similar to the base filler cabinet, base corner cabinet. Same thing here. You can always adjust the door opening width, the filler width, and the space behind the cabinet. Okay. And here's a 90-degree corner cabinet. So one thing I kind of want to mention here. So for the base corner and for the wall corner, we do not have the 45-degree corner, the diagonal corner cabinet. So that's something that we has been discontinued from our catalog because we always have issues that customer complain there's too big of the gap in between the diagonal corner and the other cabinets. So that's something that we don't offer in our catalog. Okay, and then for the
So you
90
will
degree,
never,
sorry?
I'm sorry, so you'll never get a corner cabinet ever?
No, not the diagonal corner. So you can still use the 90-degree corner, like something like this one, or the Lazy Susan base cabinet, or the blind corner, but we do not offer the 45-degree, like the diagonal corner. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. And then one more thing to mention on the 90-degree corner. So for the blind corner, during the installation, contractor can always adjust the width of the filler or the space behind the blind corner to like adjust the space during the installation. But if you have a U-shaped kitchen design, which will have two corner, right? Do not use 90-degree corner cabinet on both corner. Okay, so you want to make sure at least one side of the corner can be adjustable. Because for the 90-degree corner, there's no adjustable room on the 90-degree corner. Okay, there's no way they can adjust the filler or the space behind this cabinet. So do not use 90-degree corner on both sides of the corner. Okay, and then the wall open box, it just be the same thing as the, sorry. So the wall open box is just gonna be the same thing as the base open box. The bounding box depth here will just be the cabinet depth that you want to align with. Okay, so the actual depth is right here, which will be aligned with the cabinet door. Okay, just exactly the same logic as the base cabinet. Okay. And then for the the wall panels, same thing as the base panels. So we have the the side panel, which will have the overlay at the front that will flush all the door front. And then we'll have right here, as a default, you will have 1 inch oversized depth and 1 inch oversized height. So contractor can trim this panel on site. Okay, so for the wall side panel, one more thing that I want to mention, if you have a molding on top of this wall cabinet, right, we want to make sure, for example, if the molding is 3 inch, we want to make sure the height of this panel is covering the molding. Okay, so for example, here I have this wall cabinet, it's 30-inch height. If I have a 3-inch molding, then I want this end panel to be 33-inch height. So later on, when I try to add molding on top of this wall cabinet, I will have the molding on the front only. I don't want my molding to be wrapped around this wall cabinet. That way I won't see the joint line on the side of my cabinet. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and then the next panel, the wall front panel.
MT, I hate to interrupt, but I do have a question on that wraparound.
Mhm.
Again, I had to step away, but so why is it you just have the end panel on one side where the molding's going? Why not both sides?
Okay, so depends on the design, right? If you have a wall cabinet just floating like this, yes, you will have a panel
Yeah.
on the other side as well.
Okay, I was just
Yeah,
curious.
I'm just create like one example. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah. So yes, if you have both sides exposed, you will have end panel on both sides.
Yes, okay.
So for finished ends, it's only gonna be finished with a panel. You don't have any integrated finish end.
Yes, currently in our options, if you want finish end, basically the option will be either add the end panel to cover the side of the cabinet, or you have to change the carcase material, like the whole carcase material to the finished material. Okay, so for example, if I have the the door front cutter, as this one, American walnut. If customers say that I don't want to see the end panel, okay, then their only option will be they will have to upgrade the whole carcase material to the same material, the American walnut.
So in that case, everything is all the same thing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So when you open the whole cabinet, the entire cabinet will have the same finish, which
Okay.
will cost a lot higher, especially when they use the wood veneer finish. But currently, if they don't want to use a end panel, that's the only option to get a finished end.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that engineer team is working on. Later on, we might have option to have designers select, like, for example, left side, I want the finished side. Right side, I want the finished side, but that's not is not available right now.
Okay.
Okay. And then for the front panel, it just basically is the same thing as the base front panel. It's designed to have the exact same review. Oh, sorry, right here. So it's designed to have the exact same review as the wall cabinet. Okay, so if customer want a thick panel on top of the wall cabinet or on top of their appliances to cover any kind of gap, and they want the panel to be the exact same size of our door front, then we use this front panel with all the reviews. Okay, and then again, we'll have this horizontal panel for the wall cabinet as well. So this horizontal panel here. Okay, so this horizontal panel for wall cabinets, it can be used underneath the wall cabinet. For example, if you have a wall cabinet right above the sink, and most likely that will be above eye level, right? It will be installed higher than all the wall cabinets. In this case, if you have a cabinet that's using especially the plywood material, right? The customer will not want to see the unfinished bottom of this plywood material. So in this case, you will have to use a bottom panel. Okay, to cover the bottom of the wall cabinet. Okay, and then in this use case, sometimes the customer might want to add a LED on the bottom of this panel as well. So right here, on this horizontal panel, you will have the option for the bottom LED. Okay, so you can select yes for the bottom LED. Okay, does that make sense? Any question on this horizontal panel?
Maybe I missed it, but do you have to, when you put that bottom panel on, do you have to move like everything up? So it's not sticking out from the door? Like,
So depends on the design. I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly, but
Okay.
sorry.
So-
Right here. Okay.
so when you apply that bottom panel, then that panel will be sticking out from the bottom of, like, it goes past the bottom of the door, correct?
Yes,
Do
yes.
you have to, like, what do you call it?
So this
do you-
one, right?
Yes. So do you have
Yes.
to
Mhm.
move everything up?
So in this case, the solution will be like if customer does not want to see this bottom panel, right? So the option will be on this wall cabinet right here. We have this bottom up function, the wall
Okay.
bottom up feature. So you can use this wall bottom up feature even though customer does not need a handleless option, right? You can have a 3/4 inch wall bottom up, which will be the same thickness as this panel here, right?
Okay.
And then you can move this panel up another 3/4 inch. So 63 from the floor. So now,
Yeah.
from the front, you will not be able to see this horizontal panel anymore.
Right.
But from a 3D view, this panel is covering the bottom of that wall cabinet.
Okay. Yeah, that
Okay.
answers the question. Yeah.
And in this case, keep in mind, so that's the wall bottom up here, the 3/4 inch is only for this panel thickness, right? To basically to hide this panel. But in this case, if customers still want to have the wall bottom up feature, they want to be able to open this door from the bottom of this cabinet. You want to make sure that the wall bottom up feature is more than 3/4 inch. So I would say at least like 1¼ inch or 1½ inch. And then you can move this up another 3/4 inch. So now this panel is,
Yeah, what if you have under wall cabinet lighting? Oh, you have it. I'm sorry. LEDs recessed. I forgot
yes.
about that.
Yes, it does have the LED option, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this case right here, if I have the wall bottom up set at 1½ inch, and then I still have this wall bottom, this horizontal panel on the bottom of the wall, that allows me to both cover the bottom of the wall cabinet, hide this panel, and there will be a gap between my front door to this panel. Sorry. Okay, so there will be a gap between my front door to this panel, allow me to open this front door from the bottom of the cabinet. Okay,
Okay, so question real quick. So on this program, wall bottom up means you're just shortening the length of the cabinet, but not the door. Instead of meaning wall bottom up, that's where you're placing the cabinet.
yes, so the wall bottom up means we changing the cabinet carcase height or the cabinet body height.
Got it.
Okay, any other questions?
Is there a button that says I want the cabinet to be this floor from the bottom of the floor,
Oh, yes,
or this floor,
it's right here.
this high from the ceiling?
Yes, I would say both way. So when you click on this cabinet right here, it does give you a distance from floor. Okay, so that's you can set up on the cabinet level on each cabinet. Same thing on the base cabinet. Like because for the base cabinet, you can always remove the toolkit and have a floating cabinet. And here is the distance from the floor. Or on the drawing itself, you can click on this cabinet and then it will show you here is the distance from the cabinet to the floor. And here's the distance from the cabinet to the ceiling. Okay, for example,
Awesome.
here this cabinet, I want this cabinet to be 3 inch from the ceiling. Just change the top number to be 3 inch.
Perfect.
Okay, and then if I have, sorry. And then once I set up this cabinet right here, if I drag a sink cabinet next to this cabinet, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to find the snap point. Yeah, since I have this huge floor plan. So when you move this wall cabinet close to this this cabinet that you already set up the distance, it should be able to snap on to this cabinet and have the same distance above the floor or on the ceiling. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we move on to the floating shelf. So for the floating shelf, again, we have kind of like briefly mentioned this during the product training. So the floating shelf, we have the thin layer floating shelf, which will be the thickness of the material, 3/4 inch. And we have the 2-inch floating shelf. Okay, so one thing I want to mention here, reminder, the floating shelf and the wall horizontal panel. Okay, so these two things, the wall horizontal panel and the floating shelf, these two look exactly the same in the rendering, right? It is very similar. And in reality, it looks very similar as well, but it's actually a different product. So anything that's called a floating shelf will have the mounting bracket inside of this panel. Okay, so the contractor, they will just be install the mounting bracket on the wall and then hand this floating shelf to the bracket. Same thing with this 2-inch floating shelf. But if it's a horizontal panel, means that it's just a panel. There's no mounting bracket inside of this panel. So this panel, the horizontal panel, is designed to be attached on the bottom of the wall cabinet or lay on the top of the base cabinet as a tabletop surface. So it's not designed to be used as a floating shelf. This one is the single layer floating shelf. And then you will have all the material options from here. Okay. And then same thing as we mentioned on the double layer tabletop, triple layer tabletop, when you have a 2-inch floating shelf, the material option is a lot less. Okay, so only 5 page due to the limitation on the edge banding itself. Okay, and then another limitation on the floating shelf for this thin layer floating shelf, since this material is only 3/4 inch thickness, and then we have the mounting bracket inside this floating shelf. There's no space for us to install LED on this thin layer floating shelf. Okay, so there's no LED option. But for the 2-inch floating shelf, there is the bottom LED option. So once you select the bottom LED, it's gonna be the same thing as a wall cabinet. You can select the LED location, middle, front, back. Okay, so do not use the horizontal panel as a floating shelf just because this horizontal panel has the LED option, right? Because this panel is designed to be attached with other cabinets. It cannot be mounted as a floating panel.
Will
So
the
just
pro-
be aware of that.
will the program let you use it as a floating shelf, or does it deny it?
Well, yeah, so the program, like, that's something that the program cannot catch. Like, it doesn't,
Okay.
it cannot tells you like which cabinet that this panel is attached with. But like when we check the design, yeah, like if you are designing a floating shelf, make sure you pull the items from this floating shelf category. Okay, any question about the floating shelf?
No,
Okay, and then next one, we move on to the fillers for the wall cabinets. Okay, so the filler for the wall cabinet is very similar as the base. So we will have the wall filler 3/4 inch, which you will be seeing the edge of the filler. Okay. But keep in mind, if you have a cabinet designed it, the space between the wall and the cabinets, do not use the 3/4 inch filler only because there's no way the contractor can trim this filler even smaller. Okay, so there's no adjustable room on this filler anymore. It's designed to be used in between cabinets. Okay, so if you have a filler space that's in between the wall, then you have to use the L-shaped filler, just like the base cabinet. Okay, let me remove all these panels here. Okay, so for the L-shaped filler, same thing, you will have the L-shaped left side and the L-shaped right side. The left side will always be attached to the left side of the wall cabinet, and the right side will be attached to the right side of the wall cabinet. Okay, so clear, no question? Okay, so for this L-shaped filler, is a little bit different than the base filler, right? So when you have the wall L-shaped filler, you'll see there is one more component on the bottom. So instead of the side panel, the front panel, we have the side panel, front panel, and the bottom panel. Okay, so that's to cover the gap on the bottom of the cabinet. So when you're trying to see from the bottom, you do not want to see a gap in between your cabinet and the wall. So that's why the L-shaped filler for the wall cabinet has been designed with the bottom piece right here. Okay, so the L-shaped filler on this cabinet design here, well, same thing, the basic function will be changing the width and the height, same thing as a base filler. But for the wall filler, when you have the wall cabinet with the bottom up feature, want to make sure that all the filler will be at the same height, the same location as well, right? So for this wall L-shaped filler, it does have the wall bottom up feature as well. So if you have a wall bottom up feature set up on the wall cabinet, let's say this cabinet has a 1.5 inch wall bottom up, you want to make sure that you did the same thing on your wall L-shaped filler. Okay, wall bottom up 1.5 inch. Okay, so now you see on the right hand side, the bottom filler is aligned with the wall cabinet. Okay, we don't want to see the filler at a different height. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, another thing about the filler, the wall L-shaped filler. So for the base L-shaped filler, right? Let me pull a sample here. So for the base L-shaped filler, when you try to change the material of that filter of that filler, it only give you one option, which is the door cutter, because you always want to have this filler to match with your door. Right? If you have a cabinet that's using American walnut, right? The filler will be matched with the cabinet front cutter. Right? But for the wall cabinet, okay, for the wall cabinet, sometimes the customer will be using a different material for the cabinet body, like beside the regular maple plywood. For example, some customer might be using a material from group A to get a finished looking, like inside the cabinet. Okay, so that might be a case. Well, let me change another cabinet. Sorry, this door is just doesn't open correctly. Okay, so yeah, here is an example. Like if like once I select the once I define the cabinet size and all the color materials, and then when I change the cabinet style from here, cabinet case style, it changed the cabinet, but it's keeping all the dimensions and the materials that I have selected.
I
Okay,
told her
same thing with the
it'd
bottom.
be Tuesday or Wednesday. Wasn't it a holiday yesterday?
Yes, are you talking to
Well, we
me?
can just give her, yeah. Well, we'll just give her the square foot price. Let her figure it out. Shit. I mean, she's shopping, Jesus.
Jeff?
Big time.
Jeff, we can still hear you.
Jeff, are you trying
I
to
don't
talk to me?
have, yeah, I don't have time to send her estimate. If you want to write her one up, I think it's a waste of time, honestly, because she's shopping. I mean, she's already, I mean, shit.
Jeff?
She's 2 weeks away from getting ready to hardwood. Yeah, well, dude, I don't have time to write her that. Yeah, yeah. Hey, did you see my text
Jeff, we
about
can still
Scott?
hear you.
Yeah. Anyhow, I told him the good news. They're coming.
Okay, I just mute Jeff for now. Yeah, I'll let him know that I can open up. Sorry, give me a second.
He was having that problem earlier too. I think he doesn't know how
Yeah.
to.
Okay. So yeah, we just continue. Yeah, we just yeah.
Where's the Lily? Oh, Lily.
It's not here. Okay, so yeah, we just continue on this wall L-shaped filler. So for the wall L-shaped filler, since lots of time customer will be changing the interior finish of the cabinet to like another color. So in this case, when we have the wall filler, the wall L-shaped filler, we definitely does not want to see the bottom piece to have a different finish than our wall cabinet, right? So for this wall L-shaped filler, for the material, you'll see two options right here. One is the front material, the carcass material. So that will be controlling the front finish. So that will be same finish as the door front. And then the second material here, you can always change it to the same material that you use for your wall cabinet carcass. Okay, so now in this design, we'll see from the bottom, you'll see all the filler and the wall cabinet is flush on the bottom, and the material will be the same on the front and on the back. Okay, any questions on the wall L-shaped filler?
For changing the colors like that, is that a significant upcharge at all?
I won't say it's a like upcharge, but like basically all the price is calculated based on the material. So the price will be different when you change the filler material from the regular plywood to
Mhm.
like the finished material.
So if, let's say it's just a grade A material,
Mhm.
is that a price difference from like the default material?
Actually, I believe right now the plywood material has been set at grade A as well, like the price group A. So if you change into another material that's same like in the same price group, there won't be any price different.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So for example here, in this filter right here, when I select the price group A, basically means that with the same item, like with the same design throughout the kitchen, if I change in the material in the same price group, then the price will not change.
Okay, that's great.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. Okay, and then that's it for the wall filler. And then same thing here. We have this wall molding, the L-shaped molding in the catalog, but the wall molding is not like it's not snapping to any of the cabinets. It's just gonna be placed inside of the room. And then it's not the way like how we want the designer to apply the molding. The molding under the filler and molding category, it's just for customers who want an additional molding piece, just in case the contractor cut something wrong on the job site, they don't need to wait additional lead time to add additional piece. So it's very common, like customer will request additional toolkit or additional molding. Okay, especially for the paint finish. Okay, so that's it for the wall cabinets. And then for the tall cabinet, same thing. I want to go over a couple of things in the tall cabinet. Okay, let me remove a couple of the item here. I'm not sure if Jeff is done with his phone call, but yeah. Okay, for the tall cabinet, we have the tall cabinet with two door, top and bottom. And of course, if you change the width of the cabinet to more than 24, let's say I have this cabinet 36-inch wide, and yes, you have four doors, two on top, two on the bottom. Okay, and then we have the tall cabinet full height door. So single door all the way from top to bottom. Okay, so all the basic perimeter is the same, like the width, height, depth, you can always adjust on this cabinet. And then we just go over some like special features we have on the tall cabinet. So first thing, start with this tall cabinet with two door, top and bottom door. I think. Jeff, you done with your phone call? Let me see. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, I have unmuted your mic. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, if you want to mute your mic, you can do so. If you want to ask a question, you can always unmute. No problem. Okay, so going back to this tall cabinet here. So all these like the features of width, height, depth is all the same as the base cabinet. I'm just gonna go over one of the special feature for the tall cabinet. Okay, so in the tall cabinet, we have this feature right here called a section alignment. Okay, so this section alignment basically tells you that, for example, these two door cabinets, we have as a default, we have this cabinet selected at bottom align. Okay, so the bottom align means that when you have a base cabinet, especially the base full high door, right next to this pantry, the tall cabinet. Okay, so the bottom alignment on this tall cabinet allows you to have the bottom door to be at the same height as this base cabinet. Okay, so that's very clear. Okay, so when you have the bottom alignment selected, down here is the option for the bottom section height, which as a default, or the base cabinet will be 30-inch height. Okay, but in some case, if you change the base cabinet toolkit to 4-inch height, which you'll have to change the base cabinet height to 30.5. Then in this case, you need to do the same thing on the tall cabinet. Change the toolkit height to 4-inch and also change the bottom section height to 30.5 to match with your base cabinet. Okay, so that's the bottom section align. Also, you have an option for the top section align. So the top section align means that sometimes customer might want to have this tall pantry, the top section to align with the wall cabinet. Okay, so it's it's commonly happened in some of the design. So the top align is very commonly used, like when we have designer who's requesting a kind of design, like this kind of design. They might have another layer of the wall cabinet right underneath this wall cabinet here. But yeah. So I think it's quite common right now. Like we have designer who is doing this kind of design, have tall pantry on both sides, and have the wall cabinet in the center on top, and then with the same depth as the tall pantry. So in this case, you might want to use the tall section align to have this tall, the top door align with your wall cabinet. Okay, does that make sense? So this section alignment, the section height, for the two-door tall cabinet is very obvious. Like the section height means the height of the door. Either the top door or the bottom door, depending on if you have the top section align or bottom section align. Okay, or another option will be the section alignment with middle align, which, well, I won't say middle align, but basically the door will be separate equally, divide equally on the top and on the bottom. Okay, and then for a single door cabinet. Okay, for a single door cabinet, we still have this kind of design, this kind of feature, the top align and the bottom align. Okay, so the reason why we still have this top or bottom align in the single door cabinet is because we have this So in the style replacement on the tall pantry, we have two internal parts in this cabinet. Size is 2 section. So we have the internal section on the top. You can select if you want the shelf, or for a tall cabinet, you can use it for the as a closet cabinet with a hanging rod inside of this cabinet. Okay, so a lot of time customer might be asking to have hanging rod on top, shelf on the bottom. So that can be the option. Or customer might want to have 2 hang rod, one on top, one on bottom. So here's the option that you can play around with. Okay, so that's why on this cabinet here, the tall single door cabinet, even though there is only one door, but we still have the top and bottom section. Okay, so you can select the different accessory or different features inside the top and bottom section. Okay, so right here on this top, the tall cabinet, as a default, you will have the bottom section aligned, and the bottom section height will be 42. So the reason is that for this tall cabinet, if you want to have the roll-out drawer inside of this cabinet, so these roll-out options, the only way you can add the pull-outs inside the tall cabinet, the single door cabinet, is when you have the bottom aligned at 42. Okay, since all the pull-out location will be predefined. So in this case, once I select the bottom, the internal bottom, I have the bottom with the rollout option.
What are
Okay,
the hangers for, or like, what are they hanging on those?
the hang on the hang rod.
Yes, I've never seen them in the kitchen cabinet.
Oh yeah, yes. So actually, that's something that basically we're still working on our closet catalog, but we still have a lot of
Oh,
have like closet project with us. So basically, our designer right now they just using the kitchen cabinets, and then basically modify the internal function of the cabinet to be used as a closet cabinet.
but there's more shelves than one in those, right?
Yes, you can always add more shelf, or you
Okay,
can add the hang rod.
and then what's the weight bearing load of those rods? Like, could they actually hang their pans on them or something? Like, what's, you know?
Yes, I believe the hang rod is the capacity of the hang rod is up to like 100 something pounds, but I can't remember the exact number. That's something I need to
Okay.
check. Yeah, but the capacity, yes, I
Okay.
don't think there's any issue on the hang stuff. Okay, so go back to this full high door cabinet. So as we mentioned earlier, the bottom section will has to be 42 in order for you to select the internal bottom option to be the pull-out drawer. But if you have like hang rod on both the top and bottom, then the bottom section height won't matter anymore, right? Well, it doesn't have to fix at 42 anymore. So you still have options on this cabinet to define. So for a tall cabinet, it will have to have a fixed shelf inside the cabinet to support the cabinet structure, right? So in this case, this bottom, this top section alignment here, it basically define where this fixed shelf will be located. Okay, so if I have section alignment at top align, and then you can see my fixed shelf move towards the top. And then I can adjust my top section height. So right now I have top section height at 15. I can adjust my top section height to 30. And then you will see the fixed shelf will be adjusted. Okay, so in this case, if you have a full high door tall cabinet, the section height will be the internal height of the space, depending on you have the top or the bottom session selected. Okay, does that make sense? So when you have the 2-door cabinet, the session height will just be the door height. But for a single door cabinet, since you don't see the brick line of the door, so the session height basically means the internal height of the space. Okay, any questions on the tall pantry, the session alignment?
So the bottom part has, if you want the rollout drawers, it has to be at 42.
Yes.
But what if you wanted less rollouts? Like, let's say you wanted just 2. Does it have?
Okay. Yes. So currently the way we set up is so let me go back to this design. Bottom session 42. Okay. Okay, so the current design, the current software, basically you have to keep the bottom section at 42 in order for you to select the pull out. And when you select the pull out, you will have to select this option, the full pull out. And then after you have the pull out inside your cabinet, you'll have to go into the resource manager. And right here is the cabinet that I selected. Okay. So in this top the base space, which is the bottom space right here. Okay, right here, here's the option for my 4 pull outs. And then right here, I can select to remove 1 or 2 or 3 pull outs that I don't want in my cabinet.
Okay, great. I see.
Okay, but I think I didn't fully answer your question yet, because the fixed shelf will still remain at 42-inch height. Okay, so in the tall cabinet, doesn't matter how many pull-outs you have, the fixed shelf will stay at the same location. So that's a current design. So the reason is that for our pull-out shelf, the pull-out drawer, you can see that the pull-out drawer width is basically is almost equals to the same width as the internal space of as the cabinet. Right? So the things that engineer team needs to make sure is the location of these pull-out drawer will not hit the hinge of the door. Okay, so if the location of the pull-out drawer is hitting the hinge of the door, then basically means that we are not able to install this pull-out drawer. Okay, but yes, we have designers always asking, what if my customer only want to have 2 pull-out drawer at like 20-inch height from the bottom of the cabinet? Then in this case, the solution here will be so in our catalog, other than the base wall, tall, or the cabinets, down here you have the individual item. Okay, so inside this individual item, the first one on top, you'll see the drawers. The individual item for the drawers. The customer can order all these individual item as part of the order, or they can place a separate order for this individual item. And for the pull out, you can order this pull out with the spacer. Okay, so it's an individual pull out drawer with the spacer on the side. So as a regular, the regular cabinet with the pull out, it doesn't have any spacer. We want to fully utilize the space inside the cabinet, right? But in this case, if customer wants to have a special location of where the pull out drawer is installed, we want to make sure the pull out drawer is not hitting the hinge. That's why they will have to order this individual pull out with the spacer solution. So there will be spacer on the side here. Okay, so you can select, for example, if I want to install this pull-out drawer inside this cabinet right here. So I have this cabinet 24-inch wide with the door open to the left. Then on this individual pull-out, I want my pull-out to fit in a 24-inch cabinet. So that's a cabinet width. Okay, and then down here, the door configuration, I have the door open to the left. So now you see the spacer on the right-hand side has been removed. You will only have the spacer on the left-hand side, which is the hinge side of the cabinet. Okay? That way customer can install this pull-out drawer anywhere inside this cabinet, anywhere they want. Okay, but just keep in mind, all the individual item here will have to install on site. All the individual item means that it will ship out individually, separate from the cabinet. They will have to install on job site. It will not be showing inside of the cabinet. So I think one of the questions that you guys has bring up earlier, for the base cabinet, we have the option without hinge, right? So without hinge option, does that comes with the hinge separately? The answer is no. If you select the cabinet without hinge, we'll just send out the cabinet with the door front, and then it's not attached to each other. So in most cases, this kind of design will be used for a customer who wants to install their own accessory. But if customer wants to add a hinge later on, so basically here is a hinge option they can use. Okay, so that's the individual item. If they want to add hinge later on, they can purchase the individual item for the hinge only. But that will not be attached to the cabinet. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions on this tall cabinet? Okay, and then move on to the tall cabinet with drawer. So we have the tall cabinet with 3 drawer, tall cabinet with 2 drawer. So same thing here. If it's the tall cabinet with drawer, we definitely want to have the bottom section to align with our base cabinet, right? So as a default, we'll always have the bottom section aligned, and then with the section height 30, but you can always modify the section height according to your design on the base cabinet. Okay, and then same thing, on the base cabinet, you will have option to adjust the drawer configuration. You will have the same option on this tall cabinet as well. Okay, so for this 3 drawer option, the default will be 6.5 inch drawer on top, and then 2 bottom drawer equal divide. But if you have a base 3 drawer cabinet next to this tall cabinet with 3 drawer equal divide, you can do the same thing here. Okay, to have all 3 drawer equal divide. That way this 3 drawer will match with your base cabinet, base 3 drawer design. Okay, any questions on the tall cabinet with drawer? Okay, move on to the accessory cabinets. So for the tall cabinet with accessory, it's very similar to the base cabinet with accessory, but we are still working on adding more accessory options. So for the tall cabinet with accessory, right now, these pullouts are the only option that's available inside the tall cabinets. And then the product team and the engineering team is working on adding more accessories for the tall cabinets. Okay, and then same thing, the size of the cabinet, the width of the cabinet will be changed based on the accessory you have selected. Okay, you will see the cabinet size is changing based on the accessory. Okay. Any questions on the accessory cabinet? Okay, so move on to the tall appliances cabinet. So for the tall appliances cabinet, we have a lots of different configuration for the tall appliances cabinet. And then if you have any requests on the appliances cabinet, you can always submit a product request. Here, starting with these two, the tall appliances with the stack option. So this cabinet you can see is basically the half height of the tall appliances. So basically these two right here, the stack is designed to be stacked with another wall cabinet on top of this cabinet. Okay, so that's for if you have a if you have a customer that has a 108-inch or 120-inch seating height, then you cannot make a single cabinet that's 120-inch height. You will have to stack two cabinets together to get that 120 or 108-inch height cabinet. So that's the option you can use on the appliances cabinet, the stack option. Okay, and then in between these two options, we have the tall appliances stack, which is this one right here. And then we have the tall appliances 2CO stack. So the 2CO means that there's two appliances. Okay, so from this rendering here, it seems like both of this cabinet has two appliances, but it's actually is not. So this one right here. So on the style replacement, you will see there's only one appliances option right here. Okay, so keep in mind, if you are getting a double oven appliances model from your customer, even though it's called a double oven, but it's a appliances that has two ovens stacked together already. And then when appliances shop, when they sell these appliances, they sell as one unit, right? So in this case, we consider these appliances as a single appliances. There's only one appliances. There's only one appliances model number. Okay, so this cabinet right here is designed to have one appliances only. You can use the double oven, which consider as one unit. Okay, and then the other one right here, the stack with 2CO means there will be two appliances option. Okay, and then be careful which appliances you selected. Check with your customer or sometimes check with the appliances spec, which appliances will be on the top and which appliances will be on the bottom. Okay, so for example, I can use the filter right here. I'm gonna using the Miele appliances, 24-inch wide. Okay, so you want to check with your customer or check with the appliances spec, which one will be on top, which one will be on the bottom. Okay, so since I have selected different appliances for the top and the bottom, the cutout height of the appliances will be different. Okay, so that's based on the appliances that customer has selected. Okay, and then move on to other tall cabinet with appliances. Same thing. So this one, tall cabinet with 3 drawer. So basically there will be a single appliances. Okay, one appliances with the 3 drawer on the bottom. And then we have the tall appliances 3CO means the tall appliances cabinet with 3 appliances inside this cabinet. Okay, so in this case, most likely the customer will be using like coffee machine or like warming drawer. Those appliances will have smaller height inside this cabinet. Otherwise, like this kind of design with 3 oven, the top oven will be very high. Like customer cannot even reach up to the top appliances, which doesn't make sense at all. So this design, the 3 appliances, is usually used for when they have a microwave, warming drawer, or the coffee machine. Those like smaller appliances. Three appliances stacked together. The 3CO was the C represent. I think the 3CO, if I understand correctly, that's from the engineer team. That means 3 cutout. So it's 3 appliances cut out. So they what they care about is all the cutouts. So if you have 1 appliances, means like there is only 1 cutout. 2 appliances, 2 cutout, there will be a fixed shelf in between. 3 appliances, 3 cutout, there will be 2 fixed shelf in between the cutout. Yes, C for cutout. Yes, CO for cutout. Okay, and then we have other models like appliances, single appliances, 1 cutout with door on top, door on the bottom. We have the 1 door on top, 2 drawers on the bottom, 2W. And then we have the 1 door on top, 1 drawer on the bottom. So there is different configuration. So you have to look into the code, which one you want to use for your tall appliances cabinet. Okay. No CO in others. Yes. I think like for some reason, like if there's only 1 cutout, they does not mention how many cutouts, but I can check with the engineer team to make sure that all the information is consistent. Yeah, so basically for all the 1 cutout, yeah, they didn't mention the cutouts here. Yeah, that's some, let me write this down. Give me a second. I will report to the engineer team to have them fix that. Yeah, yeah, we will check with the engineer team, make sure all the naming is consistently. Yeah. Okay, any other questions on the appliances cabinet?
Do you have an appliance lift for like the mixers and stuff?
The appliances lift, I mean the accessory inside the cabinet.
Yeah, for the appliances.
Sorry, are you talking about the mixer lift?
Yes.
So for that, that will be part of the base cabinet accessory, and that's something that we are working on right now. It's not available in the cabinet yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the only reason is that all the accessory right now is in the accessory cabinet, with the door that's attached to the accessory. But for the mixer lift, it's gonna be inside the regular B1D cabinet, with the doors is not attached to the mixer lift. So the engineer team is working on like how to add this accessory into this cabinet. So hopefully they will be available soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeff. Jeff, is that a question for me? What do you mean by got to get that from clients?
Oh, ignore that.
Okay. Okay, so we move on to other tall cabinets. So for the corner, it's just exactly the same as all the base and wall cabinets. You do have option to add the to adjust the filler space or the space behind the cabinet. And then sorry. For the hall corner, same thing. You will have option to adjust the height of the fixed shelf, and then here's all the options you can add inside of the tall corner cabinet. Okay, so all the accessories, the hang rod. Okay. And then open box, the same is exactly same as the base and base and wall open box. The depth of the open box will just be the cabinet car case depth. And then the system will automatically calculate the overlay for the front door. Okay, and then panels, just the same as the base panel. The side panel will always have the front the front overlay to make sure all the front will be flush with the door. The front edge will be flush with the door. And then the back edge will have 1 inch oversize. And then 1 inch oversize on the depth, 1 inch oversize on the height. So exactly it's the same on the base as the base cabinet. And then we have the panel front, which is designed for the panel ready appliances for like wine cooler, refrigerator. And also we have the appliances with the center cutout, the front panel with the center cutout. Mainly, most likely is gonna be used for the panel ready wine cooler, okay, with the center cutout. Okay, and then for the horizontal goal, for the vertical gola, I have to delete some of the comments. So it's kind of similar to what we did on the wall gola, but a little bit just one more step. So it's different than the base gola. We don't have a cabinet that's special designed with the gola. Okay, so it's gonna be the vertical gola will be the function underneath the tall cabinet. Okay, so when you have a tall cabinet right here, you'll see the option right here, vertical gola position. Okay, as a default, there won't be any vertical gola on the tall cabinet. And then you can select, for example, I want the vertical gola on the left side. Okay, so now you see this left side panel is set back. Right here on the left side, you see the edge right here. So that means this cabinet is ready for me to install the gola channel. Okay, so I need to go back right here, vertical gola. And then I can select my gola channel. And then before I select the gola channel, for the vertical gola, it's a handleless solution, right? So we use the vertical gola to open our cabinet door. So if I have the gola on the left-hand side of the cabinet, means that my cabinet door has to be open from the left to the right. So my cabinet door, the door configuration has to be hinged right. Okay. So now that's the correct way for me to open the door. Okay, so once I have the gola cut out on this cabinet, so I have the gola on the left-hand side. And then one more step I need to do is add the Gola channel. Okay, so here's all the Gola channel. So I have the Gola center, which means that this channel, the Gola center channel, will be installed in the center of the cabinet. Means that if I have a design, okay, so if I have a design with two cabinets side by side, okay, and then I will need a Gola center channel in between these two cabinets, and I want to make sure I have my cabinet door. One is open to the left, another one is open to the right. Okay, and then just keep in mind, when we have the Gola design, the vertical Gola, we cannot have this Gola channel in between of a cabinet. Okay, so it has to be in between of two cabinets. There's two separate cabinets, which means that when I have selected, when I selected the vertical Gola option on my cabinets, you'll see the cabinet limitation. It doesn't allow me to go up to 24. Oh, sorry. Well, I would just say it doesn't allow me to select double door on this cabinet anymore. Okay, so my hinge configuration is only open to the left or open to the right. I cannot have a door that's open to both sides and doesn't have the Gola channel in between. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and then another type of design, I can also have the Gola channel on both sides of the cabinet. Okay, so the Gola channel on both sides. In this case, I can have this Gola design as a continuous piece on my wall. Okay, does that make sense? So on this cabinet right here, I only have the Gola channel on the right-hand side, which my door will be open from the right to the left. And then at the center cabinet right here,
Did you see
I
my
have my
text?
Gola channel on both sides.
It's great, isn't it? I mean, I'm not ready, but I'm not going to refuse it.
Jeff,
Oh, sorry.
it's okay.
Did
Yeah,
it
just
again.
It's okay. I just want to make sure you're not like asking questions to me. Okay. So and then next one here, so when I have a single cabinet, let's see. Okay, so on this design right here, I'm using this Gola center channel to have this Gola channel in between the cabinets. Okay, and then here I have the Gola channel left, Gola channel right. Means that this channel will only be installed on the left side of my cabinets. Okay, and this Gola right will only be installed on the right side of my cabinets. Okay, so in this case, I cannot have another cabinet that's on the other side of this Gola channel. Okay, so in this case, this Gola channel is designed it when I have a end panel on the side of the Gola panel of the Gola channel. Okay, so any questions on the vertical Gola design? questions? So yeah, once again, we do have a training document on the vertical Gola design. I don't think you guys will have a Gola vertical channel design very soon, but like since we have the Gola vertical channel, the vertical Gola design training document, you can reference to the training document at any point when you get to that get to this kind of design. Okay, so that's it for the tall cabinet. And then for the vanity, basically it's just very similar as what we did for the range top cooktop cabinet. It's just a combination model with all the preset. For example, if it's a floating cabinet, the leg should be there shouldn't be any legs here, but yeah, if it's a floating cabinet, there shouldn't be any leg leveler. And then the height of the cabinet should be 24 and it is always set at 10.5 inch above the floor. You can always make the adjustment, but that's the default with so with this installation, with this design right here, the height from the floor to the countertop will always be 36. Okay, and then the depth of the vanity cabinet will always be 21. And then any cabinet with the drawer for the vanity.
So it's like counter height?
Sorry?
Is it counter height or?
Yes. Well, it's a floating vanity, floating cabinet. So the height of the cabinet carcase itself will be 24. And then distance from the floor to the cabinet to the bottom of the cabinet will be 10.5. And then plus the 1.5 inch countertop, the overall height will be 36, which is the standard height. Okay, but you can always make the adjustment on the cabinet height and on the space, the mounting space, the mounting location.
We're talking for
Okay.
bathrooms, correct?
Yes, these are the vanity cabinets.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Okay, and then all
Right.
all the drawers will be U-shaped drawer. Okay, so these are the default settings for the vanity.
Can we do floating cabinets for kitchens?
Usually we do not do floating cabinet for kitchen. Because like
Yeah, I know they need the support, but that would be kind of cool.
Yes. So for the vanity, the engineer team is actually looking at the mounting bracket for the
Yeah.
floating vanity. Because right now, based on our current structure of the floating vanity, the contractor will just be installed the same way as the wall cabinet. Basically, they mount it to the wall. They have
Yeah.
to screw to the stud, but it is not I would say it's not doable as a base cabinet, which you have to screw to the floor.
Yeah, so as far as the mounting brackets, there's not really brackets. It's just they screw in from the actual
Yes.
box.
Yes.
Do they reinforce the back for that?
Sorry?
Do they have reinforcement for the back cabinet for screwing in the wall?
No. Basically,
Cool.
contractor will just need to find the stud and then make sure they are mounting to
Okay.
the stud. That's it. Yeah.
And what's the longest floating vanity length available?
Sorry? What's your
The
question?
longest floating vanity available. The longest we can do it.
Oh, the width of the cabinet?
Yes.
So right now it would just be 39 and 3/8.
So you couldn't make a 60-inch cabinet for a double sink? You'd have to use two different cabinets?
Yes, yeah. If you have a 60-inch design, then you have to use 2 of the 30-inch cabinets.
Will you be getting larger ones in the future or be the ability?
Probably not. Because yeah, since it's especially for the floating vanity, I think it's better to support with two cabinets. They both mounted to the door, to the wall. So so the design you want, even is for two sink, but you want a single drawer front. Is that the reason why?
Well, no, because sometimes people want very specific large size vanities for a certain area or something like a vanity, or a special kind of, room with longer links. I've had people want to order like a lot longer links and don't have the ability. So I'm just wondering, like, you guys do have the ability to make long cabinets, like 90 inches. So why can't we get a custom size vanity?
So that's depending on the cabinets itself. Cause like if you have a cabinet that's with the drawer, we are not able to make the cabinet that's 90-inch long. Like only if you have like
Right.
a cabinet with the door only.
So
But
what
for
if, yeah, so,
the
yeah. What if we didn't have to have a drawer though? We could do that?
I well, I would say there is still a limitation. Cause the only cabinet on the wall that can go up to like 70 something, 90 something, that's the wall lift up cabinet. So it is using a different hardware than a regular wall cabinet.
Because they're deeper, right?
It's not
Okay.
because the cabinet depth, but the hardware itself. So this door is supported by this hardware here. And then if you have a cabinet that's a 70-inch wide, the support
Mhm.
of the door will be at the center here, this hardware right here. But when you have a regular wall cabinet, I'm sorry. Yeah, so it does pop out the error message. So if you have a wall cabinet like this with the swing door, so all the width of this door will be supported on the side of this cabinet, right? Which when you have a very wide door, the hinge on the side won't be able to support the weight of this door. Okay, so same thing for the base cabinet. If you have a drawer cabinet, the drawer won't be able to exist this 39-inch width. Otherwise, it's gonna be like very heavy. There's no way the drawer box can support. And then same thing if you have the swing door on the base cabinet, the hinge on the door won't be able to support the weight of the door.
So what's the range of sizes we can do?
You are you talking about the base cabinet?
Yes. Is
So
it
base cabinet,
customizable at all, or is it just the basic ones that they usually have?
well, so for example, right here, for this base cabinet, I can go all the way up to 39. And then you can customize to any size you want in between the minimum to maximum. It doesn't have to follow the 3-inch increment. For example, like
Okay. But
yeah,
does it have to be like, what's the minimum?
the minimum for the drawer cabinet, I believe is 12.
Okay, so from 12 to 39. Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on the vanity cabinets? Just make sure. Yes, for the training video, I will send the video to all of you after the training session. Okay, so I have no more question on the vanity. Same thing here. The individual item we have go over already. We have the individual item for the drawer slide if customer want to add on later. We have the individual item for tip-on, individual item for hinges. So for all these like tip-on, any additional features, at the beginning of the design, make sure you communicate with the customer and then add it to your design at the very beginning. So this is just for a customer who changed their mind or want to replace a couple of the item. So all the individual item will not be installed inside of the cabinet. Okay, and then we have the cabinet accessory, the edge banding. So in some of the cases, if customer wants to order additional edge band, just in case the contractor need to cut something or modify some panels on site, we can order the edge banding separately. And also we have all the electrical parts for LED. So for all the LED, same thing. Once you select the LED option on your cabinets, all these LED components will be calculated by the system. So when we send out the cabinet, it will come with all the LED components already. But if customer decide to add additional LED like power supply, additional LED strip, they can do it as well. So here is just for additional LED components.
Are the cabinets shipped built?
Sorry?
Are the cabinets shipped built?
Yes, yes. All the
Okay.
cabinet is assembled already.
Okay.
Contractor will just need to install on the job site. Okay, and then appliances will just be like the very standard appliances. So at the moment, the engineer team will not be adding the special appliances for anything that's not built in. So the engineer team will only be working on or focusing on the built-in appliances at this moment, which is the appliances that you see inside the which is appliances that you see inside the appliances cabinets. Okay, so for any of the built-in appliances, any appliances that you'll be able to select inside the cabinets, like the built-in microwave, built-in oven, warming drawer, stuff like that, or built-in coffee machine. These appliances engineer will be receiving the request from designer and then adding to the system. But for any of these appliances, like the freestanding appliances, we're basically just using a genetic model. And then you can just change the width, height, and depth of the appliances. Size is just going to be freestanding inside our design. Okay, so we at the moment right now, we will not be adding any appliances model into our design software.
Are the cabinets designed for flush install of the appliances?
I'll say yes for most of the European brand. When they have like flush installation, standard installation, I will say our cabinet is designed to for all the European appliances to use the standard installation and get the flush result. Okay, so with the flush installation, it does require a bigger opening on the appliances or on the appliances cutout. And then it basically wants the appliances to be set back. Okay, but in that case, since it requires a bigger opening width, you will see a bigger gap on both sides of the appliances, which I will say a lot of customer doesn't want to see that. Like they want to see a seamless design. So when you use a standard installation, with the European appliances, European brand appliances, most of them will be set flush. But it's also depending on the thickness of the appliances, the front panel itself. So most of the European brand, the appliances front panel is either 3/4 inch to 1 inch. So with our cabinet door is 3/4 inch plus a 1/8 inch bumper, which is a 7/8 inch thickness, right? Sticking out from the cabinet box. So for if you have appliances, the door front itself is 7/8, then will be perfectly flush with our door. But if your appliances have a 1 inch thickness door, then it will just be sticking out 1/8 of an inch from our cabinet door, which most of the customer will accept that because they don't want to see a big gap on both sides of the appliances from the front. Okay, but keep in mind, if your customer is using American style appliances, which some of them might have a 1.5 inch thickness door, or they might have 2 inch thickness on the appliances door. In that case, like there's no way we can make those appliances set flush with our cabinet. Okay, since those appliances itself is not designed for a European cabinet.
But some appliances require like extra pleats or fillers. So is that something we as the designers would have to add in? Or is that like calculated somehow in the program?
Sorry, can you repeat your question
Like
again?
sometimes when there's an appliance that requires like extra fillers or something to fill in the gaps.
Mhm.
So is that something that I would need to add myself?
I would say yes, but so how this work right now is that since we have the process set up for the engineer team to add the appliances in the design software. So all the appliances that's currently in the design software, basically all those are the European style brand. It will fit with our European cabinets. It doesn't request any of the filler.
I see.
Okay. But in some case, we do have customer who is using a American style appliances will request a filler to be manually added to your design. So in this case, the way we set up to kind of like remind the designer to do this process is that we might have this appliances already added to the system, but it's not visible for all the designers, right? So basically, you cannot find these appliances in the current appliances list, which it will encourage you that you have to submit the appliances request again. And then once this appliances request get to the engineer team will kind of like kick back to the designer saying that, okay, this appliances does require an additional filler for their turrets or like the space on usually on the top or on the bottom of the appliances. Okay, so in this case, the appliances will have to communicate with the with the customer to make sure that customer is understand they will be seeing a filler on this appliances cabinet.
Yeah.
Once we get the confirmation from the customer, once the customer sign the appliances waiver, and then we will continue process this order. This appliances itself will be added by the inspector, which might be me or might be another inspector we have. And then the additional filler, since we have remind the designer that you have to add additional filler, this filler will be added by the designer.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it does kind of like is a process to set up that there will be someone to remind designer, okay, for this appliances, you will have to add the filler.
Okay, and remind me, does Rombo sell appliances too?
Yes.
Okay. Do you usually like encourage them just to go with the European style appliances? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You know, say for most of the time, like we trying to encourage our customer, we trying to kind of like educate our customer, right? Like our cabinet is designed as a European cabinet. So you will work with the European appliances to get best installation result. But if customer, like some customers, they purchase their appliances very early. So once they get to the point, like to our designer, like they're already done with the appliances purchase. They cannot make change anymore. So in that case, well, we still like we cannot just reject this kind of request from customer, right? We still process this order, but we want to inform the customer that you might not get the best result out of these like American style appliances.
And I am sorry, I missed the part where you said if you're using American appliances, you need a filler, and if you're using the European, you don't.
So that's still based on the appliances spec, but I'm just trying to say that most of the European design of European appliances, for example, like Miele thermal door, Sub-Zero, these brands, like they don't is designed with the European cabinets, so most likely this does not require filler. But the American brand, for example, KitchenAid, or like other like Samsung, it's not American brand, but like it's kind of like American designed, like American style appliances, which have a bigger clearance requirement and a thicker appliances store. So these appliances, we will have to remind our customer that some of the models, it might request the filler according to the spec guide. And then some of the model might have a thicker door panel, which will be sticking out. It won't be installed flush with our cabinet door. Okay, so I'm not saying like all the American appliances doesn't work with our cabinets, but like most likely. And like KitchenAid, like there's some model that will work and some model requires a filter. So it depends. It's still like we have to check the appliances spec. Okay, any other questions on the appliances?
No, but I had a real quick question about the vanities. I forgot. I'm sorry. Does it okay for under or over mount sink on those floating ones?
Oh, yes, under mount, top mount, yes. Yes, so that's the next topic for the sink. So yeah, when you try to add the sink, you can add any like top mount, under mount, or that's the type of the sink that you select. Yeah, but the cabinet doesn't change. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, I guess we'll just that's all the cabinets we have. Well, one more. So let me just go for well, this one is the wall cabinet over the counter, or kind of. So this cabinet is designed to be sit on top of the counter. So I guess we can cut back to this cabinet tomorrow. So tomorrow we're gonna go over how to generate the countertop, how to generate the top molding, toe kick, stuff like that. And then we'll go over this cabinet that sit on top of the countertop. Okay, so I think that's it for today. And then tomorrow, I will send out a link shortly for tomorrow's meeting. And then we'll just do the same thing. We start from 10 a.m. And then I'm not sure if it's still gonna be a whole day training, but I will say hopefully you guys can still reserve the whole day for me. And then I will say I will at least need a half day to cover everything else with this design tool. Okay.
Send me the video of today's because I didn't get to get on the earlier part.
Yes. Yes. So I think I have already saved the video for this morning, but it does take me a while to save the video because it's gonna be like couple hours. So I will send out the video once it saved it on my laptop.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, if there's no more questions, well, I will just see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Good night.
See you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.